We OG, we OG. Oh no, G. You're not bullish enough. Yeah. Oh no, you're not bullish enough. You ain't got D or no. I get stoned by the bolo. Bitcoin set to overload. Yeah. Experts on reload. Yeah. You're not bullish enough. Yeah. Oh no, you're not bullish enough. You ain't got D or no. I get stoned by the bolo. Bitcoin set to overload. Experts on reload. Mempool getting hot. Everybody wanna rock. Ayy. Rooms is coming, everybody on a knot, ayy. It's a nuisance, Ordinal revolution, ayy. Ordinal revolution. Yo, is my guy for real, bro? Got friends right now. Yo, BRC 420, bro. Yo, that shit on fire, bro. Imagine if he in here. Yeah, lock it in the seal. Murder. I got balls of steel. Nuki on the field. Yeah, this shit for real. With no calls, I get so far. Got 100 phone calls that I go hard, and they gon' love me. Smoke weed, huddle back. I get shiesty. Where my Bitcoin looking lovely. All this Satoshi's nothing above me. Bitcoin's alive, what you gon' do? Mempool fees are high. Ordinal. Where does it stop? Nobody knows. It's a revolution, ayy. Bitcoin is the one, no substitution, ayy. With shit seeing you go be, it's Ordinal revolution.
Welcome back to Ordinal Revolution. My name is Shizzy. On this channel, we cover the entire Bitcoin Ordinal ecosystem. What's up, guys? We have an amazing show for you guys today. We're live for the Ordinal Hour, and today was going so great. We were very happy. It's Friday, you know, it's going good. We're finally going to have that green weekend, and then no, smacked in the face. Bybit came out, said they were hacked. $400 million worth of Ethereum might be on the line here. There's no, you know, it's being sold off as we speak, but it's not. It hasn't been stopped yet, but it's not completely over. So we'll find out. We're gonna dig right into that. There's a tweet from the Bybit CEO we're gonna get into, and we're gonna get into a lot of other stuff as well here. It's gonna be a great show, but this news has just hit the radar, and it's just kind of really kind of pushed us back and kind of changed our dynamic of our show here. But we're gonna dig into it. We're gonna really kind of see what is going on, man. But without further ado, bring my partner here, as always, Mr. Iago B. What's up, buddy?
What's up?
So tell me about your morning, man. So everything was good, and then not so much.
Yeah. Talk about a bipolar array of emotions, right? A roller coaster of emotions. Yeah, I was just feeling really great because we were starting to really get into that, you know, post CPI data positive uptrend. And all of a sudden it halted and did an about face and just tanked. And I said, what's going on? I looked on crypto Twitter's timeline and I see Bybit had a hack for one of their hot wallets, right? So I just don't understand. You know, I get like there's all new ways of that these hackers are really trying to socially engineer these exploits and stuff. But man, there's got to be like a better way, you know, fail safes and stuff like to prepare for like the worst case scenario. And I know that they have that set up. It's just unfortunate because like every time we build momentum recently, we just get slapped in the face with something like this.
Yeah, 100%. So let's just jump right into the tweet here. It sucks, right? But this is from Ben Zhao, Ben Bybit. I'm pretty sure he's the CEO, but let's dig into it. He basically says, Bybit ETH multisig cold wallet just made a transfer to our warm wallet about an hour ago. It appears that the Pacific transaction was musked. All the signatures saw the musked UI, which showed the correct address, and the URL was from @safe. However, the signing message was to change the smart contract logic of our ETH cold wallet. The resulted hacker took control of the Pacific ETH cold wallet we signed and transferred all the ETH into a cold wallet to this unidentified address. Please rest assured that all other cold wallets are secure. All withdrawals are normal. I will keep you guys posted as more develops. If any team can help us to track down the stolen funds, I will appreciate it. It will be appreciated. All right, let's break this down a little bit. So, what because I have no idea. I'm not even gonna pretend like I do. What is a must transaction? Was must?
I guess it was like kind of like not stealth, but like I want to say like mask. Maybe he was talking
Yeah,
about, but he was trying to use that. I'm not sure what
yeah,
musk honestly means, but I would imagine that like it was masked in the sense of like there's a fake UI front end, and but like how can that not be a like a doomsday scenario that's in
yeah.
the you know procedures? Right? Is
Yep.
like, okay, there's got to be some sort of way to check and make sure that the the website, the protocol is legitimate. It's not a artificially created one that's mimicking anything. I just like I'm obviously, talking from an outside perspective that is frustrated with this, but I'm sure it's not everybody's human, but like multi-sig, the whole point is to have multiple people, kind of
They
check
did
off
though.
on it. I
So
know, that's
like,
what I'm saying is that, like, multiple people that, like, that didn't work. Like, they didn't say, "Oh, is this the," and I think people can get complacent, right? They're just like, "Oh, okay, like, address check, do this check,
yeah,
that," and then, "Alright, send it through." But, like, I mean, $1.5 billion dollars worth of Ethereum, that's like, oh, man, that's such a big responsibility, I don't know.
yeah, I know, but like, so it to me it sounds like the guy who got the address to where this goes to, somehow like there's no, I don't understand how they can hack the multi-sig itself, because the multi-sig is usually like, it's an address where 3 people have hardware wallets and they all kind of sign each hardware wallet separately, which kind of lets you kind of get into this vault, and that lets you send out, right? Well, without the 3 signatures, let's say 6 or whatever the numbers is, normally you do 6 and you need at least 3 to sign something out, especially with the large companies. I know that's very similar to what Coinbase used to do. But so they had the 3 signatures, it's sent out, but it's sent to this masked address. I just don't get it. I've never heard of anything like this before.
I mean, they just got duped. They just got duped into, the people that were in charge, the signers. It looked like status quo. It looked like, this
Yeah,
is a normal
yeah,
type of transaction that comes through, and whatever fail safes that they had didn't work, right? And so,
yeah.
I don't know if that is due to complacency or, you know, what,
Or if
but
the hacker was in that computer, right? Like that could have been it too. And then just last second, right when they signed it, he changed the address, right? Because once you sign it, it's you're basically just given access to send out. So once you have that that's access to send out, it just
yeah,
you
so
just send
that's
it.
what I think they meant by Musk. Like
Yeah,
they what they were visually seeing was
yeah,
like matched up with everything was supposed to, right? But that wasn't actually what was behind the scenes, right? Like
yeah,
behind like the actual address, there was a different address behind it, right?
yeah,
Um, but
yeah,
people real quick. So Bybit is a centralized exchange, pretty good size. Obviously, one wallet has $1.5 billion worth of ETH in it. But whenever people are like screaming that they, don't want custody and stuff for like bridges and stuff, this is exactly what people talk about, right? Like centralized exchanges if are not maybe worse, in this type of situation. So just remember that when you want so bad your token to go on a centralized exchange, that they go through these kind of things. Obviously the ones with bigger brands and more established and stuff like that tend to have less type of exploits, but I don't know, this is
yeah.
not good.
Was this human error, do you think, or was this
Sounds like it.
like, yeah? So yeah, and that's the part with the bridges that scares me, right? Like it doesn't matter how great the technology is if there's human error that can be
Well, there's a part that's not
involved.
human error though, right? It's like whenever you bring in the trusted execution environment plus the hardware plus the sharding, and you're removing the the centralized entity to do their part on the shard signing. I mean, yeah, but there's at least 3 different processes, and I'm sure that Bybit has
Yeah.
some sort of like really thorough process as well. But I'd like to hear about it and see what it is, because as of right now, all we know is multi-sig.
Yeah. So it's funny because I actually had Bybit in here before that happened. Bybit launches an industry-first initiative making all liquidations data publicly accessible in real time via its enhanced API updating every 500 milliseconds. So yeah, so Bybit came out and they're like, "Yeah, we're gonna put everything. You know, we're gonna." I mean, first off, it's crazy to me that this hasn't been a thing in the past where exchanges and stuff don't have the liquidation data public, but they could do that too, so people aren't like stop loss hunting or liquidation hunting. But I think you can get that data from other places anyway. But the Bybit is actually making it easier for everybody, so you're not going to have to use Dune and stuff like that. You can actually just go right to the site and get the data. But yeah, and then something like this happens today, where they $1.4 billion in ETH, potentially going forever.
Yeah, we'll see. A lot of times they end up being able to claw it back or freeze, a wallet or something like that. But we're gonna see if they use any mixers or anything like that, right, to avoid it. They're if they're gonna offload it, they're gonna have to use a mixer and then a ton of separate wallets and do it slowly or something like that, because large withdrawals are probably going to be at least watched.
I mean, you can always mix it in the system as well, right? Like you can go to let's just say you go to something like Uniswap, you swap it for this token, you take that token over to a bridge that token to another chain. Let's just say Arbitrum, for instance, make a transaction on Arbitrum, you bridge that to Base. I mean, there's ways to do it as well.
You can track all that stuff though, from the
you
address
can,
to the address and stuff.
But like if you add a mixer into that as well, it's going to be nearly
that's
impossible,
where
right?
That's where it can be, very.
So, and then the next thing here is the SEC. This is actually good news. Agrees in principle to dismiss its lawsuit against Coinbase. Absolutely amazing. SEC is really kind of going through each lawsuit that Gary Gensler and his previous team were putting together, and this is really good. This is really good for Brian Armstrong. It's really good for Coinbase. It's really good for the crypto industry. Brian Armstrong actually came out with a thing today, and actually, let me bring this up. I'm going to remove my screen so I can play the sound. Actually, it's really cool to hear from Brian Armstrong himself, but someone who's been in the space for a really long time. Let me know if you can hear this. Can you hear us?
Brian here from Coinbase.
Yes.
Well, today's a really good day because we just heard from the SEC staff that they're planning to withdraw their litigation against Coinbase. Now, this still needs to be approved by the SEC commissioners, but we're hoping that happens next week. And if this goes through, it's a really big deal, not just for us, but for the whole crypto industry, the 50 million Americans who hold crypto, and I think for the rest of the world, because this is an important signal about where things are going. Now, ultimately, we still need to get legislation for crypto passed in America to codify some of these rules and make sure the industry can get built on shore. But if this goes through, it's still a very important legal precedent that rights a wrong that was taking place over the last few years, where the SEC unlawfully, in my view, decided to attack or even try to kill the entire crypto industry by suing lots of different companies, including us, claiming that many of these crypto assets were securities. Now, they did this despite there not being any law indicating that that was the case. They didn't publish any clear rules to the industry. And in our situation, they actually had allowed us to become a public company just a few years prior, where they looked at everything we were doing and our listing standards, and they got comfortable enough to allow us to become a public company. So we should not forget how close we came here to a few bad actors in the government actually going off and trying to kill this industry. I remember in 2023, a lot of people were advising me on this, and they were saying, do not engage in litigation with the SEC. It's going to cost you tens of millions of dollars. It's going to put downward pressure on your stock price. It's going to spook public market investors. And, number three, the SEC might fight dirty and pressure other companies not to work with you, which unfortunately did happen in a couple cases. But I think the thing that ultimately gave me the courage to do it was that, number one, I knew that we were right on the facts and on the law. Number two, if we didn't stand up to this bullying, it might have been the end of the crypto industry in America, because not as many other companies had deep pockets like we did. And ultimately, we had to spend about $50 million defending this case. And number three, we needed to stand up for our customers' rights. They weren't doing anything wrong, and they wanted to use this technology. This is America. I wasn't going to let some activist, regulator come through and try to make up new laws that didn't exist and take away our customers' rights. So I'm really proud of where this case landed. I hope it creates a domino effect in other cases that the rest of the industry is experiencing. And we're never going to stop fighting for crypto and freedom. Thanks, y'all.
Yeah, so I'd love to get your opinion on all that.
That's a great update, and it's a great indicator of, how the SEC is going to, we kind of already knew this, right? That they're going to start dropping all these cases and saving money too, right? That's kind of a part of the whole initiative as well, right? So, this is really good. It's big, and it's going to clear the way for, I think, people that might have had hesitation of deploying capital into solid, projects, infrastructure, stuff like that. So great sign. I expect more of this. I expect actually, there to be very little actual like litigation that's going to have only to do with like legitimate like crime that, people stealing, thieving, stuff like that. It's going to be the opposite, kind of what we have experienced the past 4 years.
Yeah, 100%. For me, I respect Brian Armstrong. I respect the fight that he put up. I mean, to spend $50 million, right? And you might say like, they have it, but still to use that 50 million to kind of go after, bad actors, because that's what Gary Gensler and his team was. They were a bunch of bad actors in the system trying to destroy something they didn't fully understand, right? And Gary was a maxi, right? Like destroying crypto actually benefited the maxis in a way, because a lot of that money, instead of going to stuff like Ethereum and Polkadot and Cardano, would actually end up going into Bitcoin, because Bitcoin was made that safe haven and everything else was looked at as trash or scams and stuff like that. So, Gary definitely had that maxi type of attitude, which isn't good for anything, right? Being a maxi in anything isn't bad, but what they tried to do, they tried to kill crypto. They tried to kill DeFi. They tried to kill anything that really wasn't Bitcoin. And like, you think I'm wrong about that at all? Or,
well, I think, in my opinion, I think you're wrong about what his motive was. I think his motive was more geared towards the TradFi, the banks, because he was in constant contact with, Elizabeth Warren, that group of like, dude, she's obviously been like really connected with the banks and stuff like that, right? And I actually think that Gary Gensler knows a lot more than we give him credit for about how crypto works. But with Bitcoin, Bitcoin is already established, and I think TradFi and all that stuff kind of knew that, and they, for the most part, like the banking system realized that Bitcoin's not going anywhere; it's too big, and so they were like, okay, we'll give that a pass. But then everything else is not like, everything else is going to have a hard time, basically.
Yeah,
and that's kind of how they ran it. That's how they ran the game the past 4 years.
Yeah, 100%. All right, let's come to the next thing here. Solana user activity drops nearly 40% as meme coin rug pulls erode trust, driving capital outflows to Ethereum and Arbitrum. I wasn't expecting to see Arbitrum there. So they do have this chart. I know you've seen it as well. It's hard to really,
what is that?
Read, right? So what I got from it, these are outflows, right? So you got starting on Solana, going out. So you do see Arbitrum is one of the top places. You see Ethereum really kind of going into BNB and Base and stuff like that. But you also see a lot of Solana actually going into BNB chain and Arbitrum and Ethereum. It's hard to really track any Solana that's going anywhere else. But Arbitrum, really? That was a shocker to me. I didn't think anyone was really playing over there.
Well, maybe there's some projects that people feel like are solid. They kind of just park some of their liquidity that they feel like is going to go up. Maybe they're borrowing and lending over there. Who knows? But like the Ethereum one actually kind of shocks me a bit. Like who's getting back over there? But
Ethereum, I mean, you have Aave, you have MakerDAO, you have there's a lot of places to actually stake your Ethereum.
Yeah, so maybe they followed kind of thought process that I had for Arbitrum, but like just the larger entities, like you just mentioned, I don't
Yeah.
know. But the one good thing I think most people can say is that like 40% drop is great in terms of user activity on Solana. That means that
Yes.
what has happened recently is working in terms of like a wake up call with, and it's not meme coins, by the way, it's the freaking daily pump and dump celebrity stuff, right? And yeah, you can wrap that into meme coin if you want, but there's difference, in my opinion, from previous coin culture to what really started happening the last like 3-4 months. It went from day to day. Like I never ever saw like a coin pump to
Yeah.
like billions and then down to like 30 million or 50 million or something like that, so that was just very toxic and just not healthy.
Yeah, 100%. And being all on one chain is not healthy either, right? Like we want to be spread out here. Like having too much money on one chain is it's not good for the ecosystem, because what you saw was it was just constant pump fun, right? It was everyone was playing that one casino, and the only ones who really made out were, obviously the Solana network because of fees, obviously the Solana dexes because that's where a lot of the trading happens after pump fun, and then pump fun, who had made $500 million in the course of less than a year, right?
Yeah.
Than that, but that's what they have over on Kraken right now, sitting in Solana. So it's like it's one of those things where it's like you know I think that money needs to go to good projects. A lot of that liquidity can now enter stuff that you truly believe in. And what that's going to do too is, like, if money isn't just in one area, it's going to actually enrich other builders, right? And other places to kind of keep building, and stuff like that. So I definitely love that money is leaving. Again, I'm shocked that one of the places was Arbitrum. I expected B&B because that's like a new casino with their pump fund over there. I expected Ethereum because that's a very safe place to use Lido, use Aave, and all the other. I mean, there's hundreds of protocols over there, and then Base because of what you have with the AI and virtuals, and you have other stuff as well. But it's still, virtuals is still a casino type of style of place, but does have some builders as well, a lot more than Solana, in my opinion. And then we'll see what happens
Yeah, I
now.
mean, yeah. Well, I think that this continues though, right? Like this
Yeah.
is kind of like you have like some new topics that we probably will touch on, or like new narratives with like Tau. You have some stuff like Focus at least going kind of back to the Bitcoin ecosystem. But like we always talk about Pump Fund because that's the easy one to kind of like,
Yeah.
throw a dart at, and it's because it's look, they make the most, but like these dexes also benefit, big time from the pump fund kind of culture. Liquidity gets sent over to Jupiter right away. Trading increases there. Meteora's kind of help facilitating the launch of a lot of these with like 8 different pools and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So they're making a lot of money from platforms, and the 40% drawdown user activity to me is exactly what we need. I actually hope to see that increase a bit.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah, man. All right. Let's kind of get to the next thing here. Michael Saylor this morning. There's only room for one nation state to buy up to 20% of the network. I think it will be the United States, the US. So he's basically saying only one country can own up to 20% or more. And he wants that to be the US. What do you think that does to other countries, though? Do you think eventually we get into this war where it's just like every country's just buying up as much Bitcoin as they possibly can?
I don't know. This is gonna have to be a wait and see how this plays out thing, because yes, the U.S. is looked at as obviously like the number one nation in commerce, GDP. It's the number one in finance markets and all these things. But Bitcoin being like a new thing, and then like this administration is really changing kind of like the almost mission of how what the U.S. is focused on for the next 4 years. I think they need to kind of test the waters a bit, and get, just do it in stages, not like one lump kind of US federal strategic reserve like 20% like at once, which they couldn't do that anyways, I don't think. I mean, they could, but it wouldn't be healthy. But then they can see how other nations kind of react to it, right? Because if no one else like buys in, to me, I'd be a little bit concerned. Like they don't trust that like the US is going to be a leader
Yeah.
for the foreseeable future or whatever.
Yeah, 100%. Like, I guess, like, let's just say the US does come out and they spend the next 4 to 8 years and they're buying Bitcoin and they get to that 4 million number because that's what 20% of the Bitcoin is. It's about 4.1 million or 4.25 million Bitcoin, right? And then maybe you're a country like, I don't know, Saudi Arabia or Russia, and you're like, well, since they got the market on Bitcoin, let me go and get 20% of Ethereum, right? And what does something like that do? Because Ethereum, you would say it doesn't have a fixed supply, but it's actually, in a way, it's kind of negative, a negative supply, right? Because
Well,
it kind of goes down.
depends on the transaction volume, which hasn't been great there,
Yeah,
right?
but
So,
it's still enough to cover what's coming out. Still, what is being burned is still enough to cover. So it's not negative right now, but it's still pretty flat, right? So on the sense of there isn't really new ones coming in, even with the 4% inflation that it has to stakers, 6% to stakers or whatever it is. So, but if Ethereum fees pick up, then that actually goes negative. So what do you think about that? What do you think about countries kind of like, okay, the US, they won the Bitcoin battle, but I want to go win the Ethereum battle, or I want to win the Solana battle.
yeah, so as of right now, the supply chains is for the last week is a plus 16,117 Ethereum. So the transaction volume is really hitting it,
You
kind
gotta
of.
look over a course of a year. Over a week, it's not fair. I would say, because you just don't know when they're being it's not every day that Ethereum comes online, right?
Yeah.
So, I would check over the
So,
course of last year.
well, they only let me go up to 30 days, but
Okay.
30 days. Oh, wait, is this okay? So this is updated for since the merge, and it's plus
Yeah,
38,000.
which is,
Jeez.
yeah, almost nothing, right?
I
In the
mean,
sense
definitely.
of
Yeah.
how much the supply is. It's less than 1%.
How much is 38,000? That's like
So
probably times 2,700, so 102 million. Yeah, I mean, but if they can really, start cranking up the volume and stuff, then that mechanism, I think the mechanism sounded amazing whenever they talked about the plans
yeah.
because everybody was using Ethereum at the time. But
I guess my point is, do you think other countries kind of, like, let's just say they do get 20% of the supply. Do you think other countries say, you got that? We're not going to war with you. You won the Bitcoin battle. We're gonna
I
go.
think that would be
We're
smart.
gonna.
That would probably be smart for like maybe in that like top
Yeah.
competitive countries, right? Like if you're a competitive country, you're probably gonna be competitive to try to get some of that Bitcoin
Yeah.
percentage, right? But like
That's
if you're
true.
like a second tier in terms of competition, then yeah, that probably makes more sense.
Yeah.
And I think we do see something like that. I don't know if it's gonna be Ethereum or it's gonna be another like whoever's in that number 2 spot later. But yeah, I could see that happening. But first, it has to start somewhere, and that's
Yeah.
probably
100%.
US taking that lead and stuff.
Yeah. 100%. All right. So typically inversing correlated with Bitcoin. Will we see BTC rally as USD loses strength? So this has come with the DXY. So the DXY is really dropping here. I don't know why the word DXY didn't get copied in there, but anyway, it was supposed to say the DXY is I've been saying this for a while. I didn't think Bitcoin was going to pump really hard until the DXY really came down. So, in my opinion, we need the dollar to drastically drop. And let's look at the full chart here of the U.S. dollar index. I think we need Bitcoin. I mean, we need the U.S. dollar to get down to 102 to $1 for us to really start taking off again. As you can see, we've been in this upward momentum here for a long time, and then it broke trend and it was really rising again. But I think we need this thing to come back down to like 101, 102 for Bitcoin really to take off. I wasn't comfortable when we were at 110, back in, I want to say like early December. I just wasn't, I wasn't comfortable with this at all. I still think we need the DXY to come down to $1.99 and maybe even further down than that.
Yeah, the Dixie is really kind of that inverse indicator of how Bitcoin and crypto typically goes. There are kind of unique situations to where like if Bitcoin's in just this thrust up environment, time, I guess, like phase or whatever, then like they can go up together, but it typically doesn't happen. And right now it seems like okay, it's coming down. Bitcoin was going up, and then we just kind of had a wrench thrown into like the whole Bitcoin movement, uptrend. So yeah, let's bring the dollar down, so we can kind of get things going again. That's typically how it goes.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. And I do truly hope that this keeps dropping, because I think that's good just for, because what this means, people don't understand is when the DXY is going up, it's more people are basically divesting. They're basically selling their assets and going into the dollar. Think of it as investing in the dollar, right? And then what they do is it's a safe haven for when they're either, they're earning, they could be buying bonds, because this is actually bonds as well. That's actually it's like a basket of goods that make up the US dollar. And one of those basket is bonds. One of those assets is gold as well. But it's one of those things where with the DXY is we need people to come out the dollar and get into assets. We need people to kind of get risk on. And it is actually showing it now. I mean, we're down $4 since I want to say the year started. Let's just go back to January. Yeah, in early January we were like 110. So we're down. This is good. This is really good, and I hope we continue this. Maybe see 104 by June. That would be nice.
Yeah, definitely.
So. All right. So OpenSea reclaims the NFT market share, surging 71% after the C token announcement. So Magic Eden is down, Blur is down, Blast is down, all the other ones are down. OpenSea, what do you think about OpenSea? Do you think they can reclaim NFT dominance, or do you think this is just people airdrop farming?
Airdrop farming. I think that has a lot to do with it, right?
Yeah.
OpenSea to me is kind of like it's like MySpace, right? One of the old platforms, and then you have something that's new, that's hip, and that's like the Magic Eden things. Like Magic Eden's like Facebook after MySpace or whatever. But now if they do have like this big institutional investment and they shake things up and they do a complete I think they need to do a rebrand. They need to do a whole new a whole new feel. You know what I mean? Because like when I go to OpenSea, I feel like it's old to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not like searching for these collections, and like it just I don't know. It just doesn't have that like energy feel to me. Now people are gonna farm the C token because that's like one of the most amazing things about our space, especially this cycle, is like the airdrops are really awesome, especially when you receive thousands of dollars from it. So that's where I think the activity is coming from. But we shall see. If they can. I also think that they got to make better decisions on markets, right? Like they should already right now start supporting Bitcoin Ordinals. Like why haven't they done that? You know what I mean? Let's say okay, Ordinals took a step back. They're still number 2. You know what I mean? If they're, and they'll compete for number 1. So to me, I think that's really dumb that they're just not doing that even still to this day. And that's one of the reasons why I feel like they were getting lapped anyways.
Yeah.
Blur lapped them first.
Well, the problem with them is they're EVM based only. I don't think they have any chain that's not EVM based, right? So they don't have Solana, they don't have Bitcoin, they don't have Cardano, they don't have anything that's not EVM based. And from my understanding,
well,
I could be wrong about that. Yeah, so maybe that's something they do come up with later. But you got to remember too, the EVM base is 90% of the NFT sales, right? I mean, from the EVM chains.
No, from the EVM. I mean, EVM. No, it's like Bitcoin has a good, even though they fell back, they still have a good percentage of digital.
But if you put Polygon, Ethereum, Avalanche, everything together, it's still about 90% of the NFT market.
I mean, it's really Ethereum. It's really Ethereum, and then Solana and Bitcoin. Those are really the 3. I guess if you want to combine all the EVMs, sure. Base is actually starting to come up there too.
Yeah.
But
that's kind of my point. They're kind of just like, let's not make any mistakes right now. Let's just know what we're good at and keep doing that, which is a business decision.
I think that's a horrible decision. I think that was the decision that caused them to go to 3rd from 2nd, or some people will be like, okay, they were still 1st, even though Blur took a lot of their spotlight. But when Magic Eden came in, they took over the space, right? Yeah. So that's who they're competing with. if they want to stick to Ethereum only, I just think that's a bad business move. But we'll see.
Yeah, well, it's
Or
not Ethereum
EVM.
only. It's EVM.
EVM.
Yeah.
That's what I meant.
But like, so yeah, I'm just curious. I was trying to find a chart this morning. I couldn't find one of like the volume of each NFT exchange or NFT you know, what's going on chain.
Chain.
I'm gonna look. I'm looking for that.
I have the data. Are you looking
Of which ones?
Are you looking for 30-day, 7-day, or 24 hours?
Let's go 30.
Yeah, so 30-day number one is Ethereum at 312.
No,
Are you talking
no,
about?
no,
Oh,
no,
you're talking
I'm
about
looking-
platforms.
I'm talking about
Platforms.
platform. Yeah.
Gotcha.
I had trouble finding that. I looked on Crypto Slam, which I'm confident you're on right now. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I looked over there, I couldn't find it. And I was trying to find a chart of the last like 30 days of all the platforms, but it's hard to find. But moving along here, Sam Bankman-Fried flatters Trump, flips on Biden while asking for pardon in first interview from prison.
Interesting.
So I know I really like this. So do you think Sam Bankman-Fried has enough evidence to put someone like Gary Gensler or Elizabeth Warren or someone who's on the other side of Trump, so like a politically, and I say Gary Gensler because he will again flip on Pelosi and Warren and that whole gang of anti-crypto people. Do you think first off, Sam Bankman has enough to convict somebody, and two, do you think this kind of can get to some of Trump's enemies? Because he would pardon them if he can put some of these people in jail for what they've done.
Yeah, I think it depends on like what the value is, right? On the dirt.
Well, I'm just asking,
has.
Do you think he has enough evidence to put someone in jail? Like, do you think that he possibly could have enough evidence to do something, or you don't think so?
I think by testimony. I don't know about like hard evidence. Maybe he had
emails.
I mean, he's not a dumb person. He's obviously he's smart. He just kind of got into like greed and stuff like that. So I'm pretty sure he probably put like some data or something tucked away, for a rainy day or something.
I think he does. I think he has a massive amount of evidence that can incriminate a lot of these people.
Oh, how much does it like matter to the new DOJ and the new FBI director and Kash Patel and stuff and all that stuff? That's what really is gonna matter, right? So like if they want,
you can put Elizabeth Warren in prison. Like that's a really big mouthpiece that you just shut up.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like if you can put someone like Maxine Waters, who we know has a relationship with. I mean, I'm just saying.
I mean, just term limit them, man. Like
we have to find the crime. No, we have to find the crimes that they have committed and put them in jail. Because what that will do, that'll set don't do this or you'll go to jail. Like that is the ultimate term limit. Don't do stupid shit. Like don't incriminate yourself.
Yeah, and have term limits too, though. Like I think term limits are vital.
Are you okay with pardoning Sam Bankman-Fried for what he's done if it gets some of these anti-crypto senators in prison or at least impeached? Because I'm okay with that. Release them, get these people arrested.
I'm more interested in the Epstein list and stuff like that because I feel like that's like higher priority. And then
not for me. This is number one priority.
Really, children?
I don't give a shit. I want crypto to be fucking. You know what I mean? You're saying children, but like nothing's changing. You know what I mean? Like it's just like
except for the people that abuse the children. Getting held accountable for it. That's in my mind. I feel like that's priority number one, and then priority number two would be going after these people, right? Because I feel like they definitely made our industry, so just put a lot of stress on it in general, right? For no reason.
I feel like if you had enough evidence for the Epstein stuff, and we're probably going to get canceled for this, but if you had enough evidence for that stuff, I think. I think they would already be prison. I don't think there's going to be enough evidence regardless, even with this list of people. But moving along here, let's kind of get into the Bitcoin fear and greed. So it has not been good. It has not been fun to look at this, but I'm actually hoping for new numbers here. So last week we were at a 48. Yesterday we were at a 49. Where do you think we are today? We're definitely getting a little bit more green. I'll give you that hint.
Well, last night it was
in the term of percentage.
Last evening was good. So what, 57?
Damn, dude, you're pretty much on 55. But we are entering this, but with this news of Bybit, it doesn't look like. I mean, I'm seeing Bitcoin like around 98, so it's not really seeing. I'm not really seeing a dip because of this Bybit. Isn't that weird? The Bybit stuff didn't really push the price down. So.
It did, because it was definitely like hitting like a really good uptrend price. But like it has bounced back very well. I'll say that.
Yeah.
You know, because it got it shot a wick all the way down to 97.1. But we were sitting at like 99.5 trying to knock on the door of 100K. And then that happened, and now we're back to 98.5. So I think we can kind of I think we have an opportunity to bounce back here and maybe get back on track to where we were. We're gonna see, you know, how much this Bybit news is really gonna hurt the price trend.
Yeah,
the market.
100%. All right. Let's kind of get into that Bitcoin price action brought to you guys by BitPerp. BitPerp, man, if you're following them on X, they are posting. They are getting ready for what's coming next for their next big testnet stuff. If you're not following them, guys, go over to their X account. It's at BitPerp, and let's kind of go through some of their tweets really quickly. But BitPerp, should have had this up. I did have it up. All right, so. They're basically getting ready here. They made a post, utility season. Are you ready for what's about to happen? A next Anon, testnet relaunch, high performance perp DEX on BTC L2, offering 150x leverage on your favorite pairs. Early users equal first mover advantage, live soon. They have an index there that I don't want to read out loud. And then so definitely check out BitPerp, guys. Get ready because they're about to launch their testnet. It's going to be on the Spider Chain. Really excited for what these guys are building, so definitely want to check them out. They do want to become like a hyper liquid competitor. We'll see if they have enough firepower. I think they do, but we'll see what comes next for them. But these guys are leveraged perp DEX. They're going to allow you guys to trade, you know, potentially anything you want to trade in the Bitcoin ecosystem on their DEX. It doesn't, you know, it's not going to be one of those things where we got to get this listed, we got to get this listed. No, they want to service the Bitcoin layer 1 and layer 2 assets first. They will also give you the opportunity to trade stuff like let's just like Trump and Melania and everything else you would possibly want to trade all in one place, but with the stuff that you actually are interested in, and that's the Bitcoin layer 1 and layer 2 assets.
Yep. And before we get into the Bitcoin price action, guys, if you could help us out on the YouTube side, hit that like for us, subscribe to the channel, turn your notifications on so you know when we go live. On the X side, guys, let's share the space. Let's educate and onboard as many people to the Bitcoin ecosystem. And on the abstract side, if you guys could share the stream, that would be greatly appreciated. But let's jump into some Bitcoin price action. Before I go through my normal kind of 1 hour and 4 hour charts, I wanted to show something. I was really hyped up today. You know, I even like created this chart here that had some extra information of the CPI data, and I've been talking about this, and you can see from the last, like, I think it's 5 CPI dates post CPI, you might have a little bit of, you know, sideways or up and down, and then it always has an uptrend, and it goes all the way back actually to here, which is like that September date right here is uptrend right after with a little bit of pullback, then uptrend. Though you can see here the swing trade though is nice here because there's always an uptrend post CPI data, and then like towards the middle or a little bit past the middle on the average kind of between 2 CPI dates, it does start to go back down into the CPI data date. So that's a trend that you might want to just kind of have as like a variable or indicator of like, okay, you know, we got the CPI data coming up in a week. It's probably going to, you know, have a downtrend into it. But if there's like a big event or something happening in between those dates, it can be like, you know, prolonged. And as you see here from the October CPI date to the November 13th, which is after the election, right? So, you know, kind of normal post CPI has the uptrend with some choppiness, but then, hey, you know, Trump looks like he's going to win. Trump won, bam, that extended that, right? But still, that trend that stays is an uptrend post CPI and downtrend heading into the CPI. Let's go from November to December, same thing. Uptrend here, kind of towards the middle, a little bit of down, and then downtrend into the next CPI date, which was the 10th. So anyways, I'm not going to go through all of them. I just wanted to let you guys know and kind of see the uptrend here. And so, you know, we saw it last time, and then it had this downtrend into the CPI. So for us here, if I kind of zoom in, we haven't really started that really aggressive uptrend. It looked like we were doing it. We had the CPI data on the 12th, kind of a little bit with the pull back here, and then this is where I was like, okay, this is where we're going to start to have that strong uptrend. And how long is this going to go? Because the next CPI date I think is March like 13th or something. 13th, I think. Yeah. Right. So we got about 3 weeks until then, right? So even if with this kind of a blunder that we had today with Bybit, I think we're gonna, get through this and then start to really uptrend. We might see some chop over the weekend, but then have a pretty strong uptrend, and then start to downtrend into that March 3rd, and then maybe we have that blow off the top, heading into that spring strong period, right? So that's what I'm seeing, for the post CPI data. But you guys might want to kind of, if you're a trader, swing trader specifically, meaning that you trade the longer time frames, because you're okay, being safer leverage, with maybe a week at a time, 3 days to a week at a time. Might want to use this CPI kind of data and pre and post price trend action and stuff to get into your positions there. Not financial advice at all. But anyways, so let's kind of go back here to the hour chart to see what happened. As we know, I mentioned it earlier, we were at 99.5, trying to knock on the door of 100K, and the Bybit information came out. Bam, we dumped really hard, got all the way down to 97, 128, broke just straight through the 50-day EMA. So it killed our momentum that we were having. And I 100% felt like this was the post CPI data momentum to start this uptrend. But I will say we have since bounced back pretty well. We got back above the 50-day, the top channel or part of the channel in the 50-day EMA, and we're kind of hanging out here at 98,300. So this is good in my opinion, because we're not continuously bleeding out with that pretty horrible news, right? Now, with that being said, the leading indicators are still showing that, more bleed out could happen. I am glad that we have stabilized here on the hour chart, at that 98,300. But you can see stochastics just got into oversold, maybe a little bit ago, we're at that 8-point mark. So probably like 10 minutes ago, 30 minutes ago. And then you can see the MACD here still showing kind of a strong sell pressure. But if we can manage to stay in this 98,000 to 98.5 to kind of get through this event that's happened, I think that will be pretty bullish for the weekend, more specifically Sunday night, right? That's what I always look forward to. Sunday night, Saturdays always, for the most part, typically kind of like a chop trading, swinging back and forth. But Sunday evening is typically when there's a big move. And so that I'll be looking to see what what's happening with Bitcoin for the rest of today. If we can manage to stay in that 98 to 98.5 zone, which I think will be a sign of success heading into the weekend. The 4-hour chart's really going to play off of today, right? Because if we do lose that 98,000 and we start to free fall a bit, this is going to look nasty. We'll probably have, Saturday will even probably look a bit bloody, and then we'll, maybe Sunday we'll get over like everything and then pop back up, because we're in the time zone of trying to get that uptrend going post CPI. I mean, I just gave you guys 5 examples that had the same characteristics, and I don't expect it to just break now out of nowhere. So that's where I'm feeling still pretty bullish about Bitcoin's price action, which could really get some of these other assets going as well.
Yeah, man. Great job with that. But yeah, so I did find some news that just came in. Not news, but basically someone kind of understanding what the Bybit thing is about. So Cigar, who's over on Abstract, he said basically the hacker was able to attack each signature signer's device to make the multi-sig UI show something different from what was actually signed. That's how they got the multi-sig to sign away the funds. And then Eric Wall actually came in and said no multi-sig signer hardware device screen mismatched. And Cigar says hard to tell, but last time an attack like this happened, it was compromised on the front end. So he's basically saying here I think it was a front end attack where their system was actually hacked, and they were waiting and sitting there and just waiting for them to kind of make this or make us something, use this hard wallet with the 400 ETH or 500 ETH in it.
I actually feel like that's
crazy.
worse, because it's like a step. Yeah. They got the front end is pretty much aesthetics, you
Yeah.
know, and so like, is there no like scan process for like back end malicious activity? You know what I mean? Like, and to me, that's either a lazy process, a broken process,
Yeah.
you know, and unexcusable. But you know, I'm not in their position, which I would hate to be right now.
100%. And then Petty says likely 100% of the ETH have been hacked from the Bybit official. 1.46 billion equals 540,000 ETH, and their proof of reserves only show 540,000 ETH. So he's saying all their ETH that is being traded on the site right now is all paper ETH because they don't have the funds to back it.
I don't want to talk about it no more.
It just gets worse. It just gets worse. But did you want to get into the CPI thing? I know you got into it a little bit. You want to get into it a little deeper, or you think
I
you
mean, I
covered it?
pretty much covered it. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's get into today's roll call here. Let's go into the comments. Oh wow, our boy Danny got it again. Number
man.
1. Shout out to Danny. Legendary. I think you won the week for sure. But let's check it out. Go to my Google Docs. Man, my computer's running so slow today. All right. So it looks like Danny. Yeah, Danny, you're right, dude. Because he's put it in here. Did I tie the man of the myth, Mr. Webdro? And you got number 7. So Webdro also. Oh, Webdro has 8. Let me show the screen here. So
Oh.
not. Webdro actually has 8. Unless he hacked my computer to change his number. Let's kind of go back. There's 8 and there's 7. No. Webdro has 7. But Danny, yeah, man, you had 6 yesterday, 7 today. So you're 1 behind Webdro. Let's see if next week you can actually take the title of leader here. But shout out to all you guys, man, who make this list, and to everyone who makes a comment. We appreciate every single one of you guys. But Danny, you are the winner today, man. Appreciate you and everything you do for our channel. Thank you so much for being here each and every day. And man, you gotta be. I don't know. You gotta be stalking our page because yesterday we actually put it a little later because we had some stuff to take care of. So we put the video up probably like right around 6 o'clock, right? Or I did.
Yeah, I mean,
I didn't even see that you sent the thumbnail over.
The competitive, energy is definitely amazing. I love it, dude.
Yeah,
I love it.
Me too. Danny says, "No way." Did I tie Webdro? You're right behind him. You're definitely in second place. Webdro goes at Danny boy. Danny says, "Damn, Webdro, we might have to let people catch up." I wasn't going to try today, but out of habit, checked in, and oops. He said, "Nah, keep it up, Danny. Maybe after this year's prize, people will have to know what they're missing." Yeah, that'll be pretty big. If the prize is big, next year it could be even crazier. Lackey Lukey is here. Shout out to Lackey Lukey. PJ&Z is here every single day. Peanut butter jelly time. How many do you have, PJ&Z? Yeah, you got 5, man. You're up on that list too. ASAP Benji, man, absolute legend. What is it? A Bitcoin frog. One of the few people still rocking frogs is my man ASAP Benji. Shout out to you, man. I'm actually thinking about grabbing one. Really? I see Chico Mo and ASAP.
Yeah, dude, that was the first person that like came to my mind was besides ASAP, of course, but Chico Mo definitely there. And yeah.
Dude, we should adopt the frogs. We should just become the Bitcoin frog show. Maybe not. That seems like a lot of work. Now I'm saying that out loud. I'm watching you guys. Shout out to ASAP Benji. Danny Boy says, Baja, OR fan forever. Thank you so much, man.
Appreciate you, sir.
We'll always be OR for sure. Webdro says, I'm just a dude playing a dude disguised as another dude. Shout out to Webdro. Superfan says, DB, damn, bro. Nagi is here. Shout out to Nagi. Shout out to Superfan. I guess shout you out, my friend. You are absolutely amazing. The fact that you support us, man, love you for that. Yasher is here, GM guys. Big Rod is in the building. He said, damn, so close. Rod said, hearing Bybit Exchange has had $1.5 billion hack. Here comes another dip. I'm surprised, though. I mean, you're usually right, Rod. You're usually right there, but I'm not really seeing a dip right now. Isn't that weird?
Well, I don't know when he dropped this comment, though, because it could have been
10:47, about an hour ago.
Yeah, so it was about to dip then. So
yeah. Lackey Lukey's here with his Billy Cat. Shout out to Lackey Lukey. Shout out to the Billy Cats. Nighthawk is here. That's my guy right there, out there in LA, driving his Uber, killing it, making sure people get home safe. That is a legend right there. All superheroes don't wear capes. Nighthawk, man, he's a superhero. Shout out to you. Joko is here. He said, market seems to be picking up, or is it just another fake out? What do you think?
Well, like it's funny because remember whenever it started dipping before the buy bit, like before we knew, and I was like, dude, they're faking this out. There's like, because I was like, I'm still very confident in that CPI data, post data, pre and post. So, guys, like, don't listen to me because I'm not like an expert or whatever, but I am saying, one thing I have experience in I can't talk today. Experience in is like processing data, right? And so, you know, I've just being a digital marketer for 10 plus years, that's one of the first things we go to. And that CPI data to me is just so bullish for the next like 3 weeks. And I think we get through this blunder. Like I said, it might take the rest of today. Maybe we forget a little bit about it tomorrow and Sunday, but yeah. So I'm still in that same mindset of, yeah, I'm trying to take advantage of the next 2-3 weeks.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. So next CPI looks like it's around the 2nd or 3rd week of March. So I hope you're right. It'll be a nice.
Yeah, so 2 weeks. Then I would want to take advantage of, because that 3rd week, if it does do what the data said, then Bitcoin will probably, you know, start to dip into CPI data. So the next 2 weeks, I think, is really that window of, you know, some of the stuff bouncing up here.
Could you imagine if we do that and then the next CPI is like it comes out and it's low? As I say, we get to like 2.8 or 2.7 or even something like crazy like that. Because you are seeing right now. I mean, Walmart just came out and they said, you know, Q4 wasn't that great for us, right? So the people aren't consuming. What normally happens when people aren't consuming, inflation drops because you know,
the demand.
So it's all about supply and demand. That's inflation. So if there's no demand and there's a lot of supply, inflation drops heavily. So we'll see. Steamy J is here. GM, let's go. My guy. Ordinals Tweets is here. Shout out to you, my friend. Remember it used to be Ordinals Tweets and what was it? Ordinals Chips. And we miss you guys. Shout out to you guys though. Mike's Elf is here. He said could be a pretend hack. Oh yeah, I got hacked too. Wink, wink. What about something like that? What if Bybit is
like you can get big trouble for that?
I mean, of course you can go to jail for that, but you can also make $1.5 billion
before the rules, right? No rules.
I mean, we've seen like it exchanges don't surprise me anymore with FTX and you know what I mean and everything. It wouldn't surprise me, but
true.
Ricky is here. Shout out to Ricky, super fan. Hits a GM. She GM'd you, my friend. Myself says people who know how to view on-chain metrics are going to expose corruption. Watch,
yes,
I agree.
Yes, we need more of that.
The only problem is mixers, right? Mixer into a mixer into a mixer into a bridge into a mixer. It's hard. It'll be, you know, we've created a lot of technology here in crypto, and some of it is, you know, it's. I mean, it helps stay private.
So here's the problem that I had with the way that the SEC handled Tornado Cash last time was that instead of saying, hey, like, you got to stop doing this or whatever, they just were like, you're going to jail. You know what I mean? That's it. Like, you know, we're taking like it. And so, like, I'm sure that they'd be willing to somehow help, you know, authorities if there's like a crime happening, right? Or something. There could be some sort of compromise, but
there's really nothing they can do, though.
I know. Like, so that's my point. Is that like either you like if you don't want to go to jail, then let's work together to stop actual bad crime. So basically, they'll be like, well, then that's not you're taking away the nature of my product, right? Well, then you know either that or you're going to be complicit. You know what I mean? So it's like that's the difference of this SEC coming up, I think, versus the SEC before. Well, do you see how like the dialogue I just had was more like a conversation versus you're going to jail because the illegal actions and blah blah blah.
Well, it wasn't the SEC; it was the DOJ stepped in
or whoever.
And no, 100%. But like they actually saw it as if like let's just say someone created like a bomb,
like a
they created the bomb, so they saw it as They saw North Korea running away with millions of dollars. There's nothing we could do about it because they were mixing it and sending it over. So we didn't even know which wallets were theirs.
But
so
again,
they
like,
saw it as a way of that as people funding North Korea, being a way to fund North Korea.
I get that, but like there was no like, and it's just the nature of the regulation and U.S. government towards crypto in general. There was no relationship, and so because there's no relationship, whenever you like penalize somebody or like you know give them consequences, it was like you're throwing the hammer and everything at them. You know that's it. No, you can't argue or anything, and they were in jail, right? So
Yeah. Well, it was not understanding what they made, and they thought that arresting them would stop Tornado Cash. But I mean, once it's open source code, so anyone can just fork it, put a new front end onto it, done. So it's like creating like a schematic for like something lethal and putting it out on the line. It's already out online. Someone screenshotted it. It's out forever now, right? So there's nothing they could do. But and they didn't understand what it was in the first place. So. Myself said, "Yep, dollar index down, crypto go up." Yes, finally someone who agrees with me. No says GM DGens. Yeah, the no with his Nuki. We're talking to Sam Sage again. He's actually creating us a new song, and he keeps throwing the Nukis in the song. So shout out to Sam Sage. Patty Fu is here. So sup. Danny Boy is here. Says GM. Danny Boy says, "Oh yeah, I'm definitely stalking the page." Danny says Chico, Ben Froggen, and then Chief Axel to wrap it up. Shout out to every single one of you guys who makes roll call every single day. We appreciate you guys so much.
Yep.
So, I wasn't expecting the Bybit stuff to kind of come out, so we do have a lot to cover. But I'm just gonna jump right into the fluid stuff first, knock that out, get into the other stuff, and then we'll get to Jake.
Yep, sounds good.
All right, guys. So today is Friday, and right around 12 o'clock, what we do every single Fridays, we kind of go over our partners, which is Fluid. Fluid tokens are absolutely amazing because they're actually building DeFi on Bitcoin Layer 1. A lot of guys have waited, or they're either waiting for Arch or they're actually using one of these L2s. They're not building directly here. Fluid, Liquidium, Runes Dex with their liquidity pools, Dot Swap, Odin Swap as well, have been really the pioneers of Bitcoin DeFi. But what Fluid has done, they're the only ones actually creating staking. Staking on Bitcoin is awesome because it's done in a non-custodian way using Bitcoin's block locking technology. And what that means is you're basically locking the asset up to a certain block height, and it cannot unlock or it cannot be freed until that. So what Fluid is doing is they're taking your asset, locking it in your own wallet. It's going to show up. It's going to look like another wallet, but if you look inside of a Bitcoin wallet, Bitcoin has thousands of addresses. It's randomly picking one of those addresses and locking it in. That way, there's no confusion where you're not seeing it and stuff like that. But it is locking it in one of your personal wallets that you control the keys of and locking it for a certain amount of time. They chose until Nashville, but until Las Vegas 2025, which is in May, and you chose to agree with that or disagree. So by staking, you choose to agree with it. So let's check out Fluid real quickly, and then we'll kind of get into some other stuff. So if you go to fluidtokens.com, hit launch Bitcoin, this takes you to their amazing page. And guys, if you have Dog, you should, and you're planning to hold it until May. Think about locking it up because right now there's 36 million Dog that's locked up. So the reward is 3 million Dog tokens will be rewarded to this group of people depending on how much you actually have staked, and it's actually beneficial to lock up a less amount because what Fluid was saying is the less Dog you have in there, the more APY you're going to get. The more Dog you put in there, the less APY you're going to get. So I locked up 400,000. Yeah, I locked up 400,000 Dog. I'm kind of sitting in here. I'm going to wait the 94 days. This is Shizzy proof in the Dog. This is making sure that I do not sell my Dog and I hold it for better days. But the reward unlocks on May 26th, 25, which is during the conference, which is awesome because I'll be in Vegas for that. And then, so then you kind of go back here, you look at the vault, it kind of gives you all the information you need to have. There is a 10,000 sats fee for doing this. That is what goes to Fluid. The minimal stake is 50,000. Let's see if I can stake another 50,000. I think I have in this wallet.
It looks like you have 1.8.
Yeah, I got 1.8 million in here. So let's see. I can see if I can stake another 50,000 in here. Oh, I have to, and see, I kept getting this instead of get balanced.
Do you have Bitcoin in there? Is it logged in? Is it connected? All that good stuff.
It might not be logged in. Let me check.
That's probably what it is.
But the problem was, I think I was trying to max it out, and it wasn't let me. So it might give me this disclaimer because I have too much in this one. So in Bitcoin in this wallet, you know what? I sent out the Bitcoin.
Yeah, you don't have no Bitcoin. Okay. That's the problem.
I got no Bitcoin in this wallet. So I did it on purpose so I can't sell my Dog. So I can't trade it. Or
Oh, look
I
at
can
this
take
guy. He's a
instructions though, so.
believer in runes again. I see.
I mean, I got over $6,000 in dog
Look at
again. I
this
got some Billy,
guy.
so I got a little bullish. I got a little
runes.
bullish on runes again. So just a little bit. I got a love-hate relationship with meme coins. I hate that I love them, but I love making money. But no,
You
see,
hate that you love them, and at times you love to hate them.
I hate them sometimes. I truly hate them sometimes. But
That is the
until I got
epitome
some
of a
dog.
love-hate relationship. Seriously.
But yeah, so if you guys do have some dog, lock it up. Make sure you have Bitcoin in that wallet because it is going to cost you the 10,000 sats. I forgot to leave Bitcoin in here because I needed to send it to another wallet for other reasons. But yeah, so if you guys are interested in locking up your dog, use Fluid. Again, they are not holding your dog. They're not custodying your dog. You are still the custodian of your dog. They are just using the technology that Bitcoin allows and locking your dog up until May 26th. So earn the reward. I mean, there's no reason not to. I'm sure the reward will outplay the fee, and at the same time, you're helping dog by locking it up, staking it away.
Yeah. Well, and one of the things too is that like you look at dog's market cap right now at like 300 million is kind of where it's fluctuating between 300 and 275. And the last time we did a fluid staking vault with runes was actually when we staked the Billy Cat ordinals. And I remember like Billy, $1 billion cat had jumped up, I want to say like maybe like 200% in market cap. And so everybody that unlocked was like, winning. So that
like
this
10x, dude.
Yeah, this could be a similar situation depending on like where runes are during the summer or right at the very start of the summer. So that May is typically whenever that spring thrust up kind of starts to like peak. So we'll see what happens there. And you have 5 days from now to where that dog staking vault is you can't get in anymore. So just keep that in mind.
100%. And we actually have a tutorial video on how this. You can go to our YouTube channel. You can go to our X account. You can go to pretty much anywhere. I think it's on Spotify as well. You guys can watch that. And if you're interested in doing this, that's a step-by-step tutorial on how to stake your dog. But that is fluidtokens.com. We have a few other things with these guys, right?
No, I think that was
I have this
main
tweet.
update. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I have this tweet from Lofalo, or how do you say his name? Leaf Ofio.
LIFO FIFO.
LIFO
FIFO.
Anyway, he has the Wizards and he's Rune Blaster and IO. He's big in the space. He definitely has the respect of Casey. He is the one who paid for Memento Mori to be distributed. Like he was he's a big figure in the Ordinal space. But he came out and said time locks and Ordinals. Bitcoin tap script enables smart contracts to lock UTXOs until a specific block height or time, making self-custodial staking possible for Ordinals and runes. Yes, time locking remains rare in the Ordinal space. This is mainly due to the lack of standards around locking scripts, no clear links between locking address and your Ordinal address, limited wallet support for signing with tweaked public key. So basically, he says all this, and then at the end, he comes out and he basically shouts out Fluid Tokens for being one of the few people who are actually doing this. So shout out to Fluid Tokens, actually getting the respect of, guys who've been in the space for a long time. I'm sure Casey knows about this. I'm sure, a lot of the Fluid's actually being looked at now as a real builder here. And I think that's amazing.
Yeah, because they've built more than 95% of the builders on Bitcoin Layer 1 and are, in the Bitcoin Ordinals and Runes ecosystem. Lightning and, RGB and different areas. Was it Root? Is it Rootstock?
Yeah.
I can't. Yeah, the different areas of the Bitcoin ecosystem, that's different, but like they're building on Layer 1, so people are starting to respect their dev skills for sure.
Yeah, 100%. But yeah, and then Fluid right now is in consensus Hong Kong. Is that still going on? I'm pretty sure it is, right? I think
It's done. It's done, but they had it's really successful. So if you stop by their booth, they want to say thank you. It was an amazing event. They gave us feedback on. So I think maybe this week, Jeff was there as well with Merlin Chain and some other builders. So hopefully we get some really good updates coming out of that. And then ETH Denver is next week, right? And there's a whole Bitcoin like kind of side of that. So I think these events are going to be really productive, and we'll see some new stuff hopefully heading into the spring.
100%. Yeah, man. All right, let's jump to our show title here, which is what's next in the Bitcoin ecosystem and beyond. So if I was going to ask you this question, you know what I mean? What would you say is next for the Bitcoin ecosystem? Do you think we kind of stay stagnant here? Do you think Arch is the next thing? Do you think maybe we go to L2s? What is next in your opinion?
I think next is going to be the kind of making the experience just more seamless and easy. We've already seen kind of this mission with Dog and Runes, go into different environments. That's easier, but also within the Bitcoin ecosystem as well, because that's the main problem, right? So you have something like Sats Terminal that is like an aggregator of aggregators. I feel like, to where like they are aggregating runes at every single level, like the NFT style trading. They're aggregating like an ordering book. And then they go to the next level, aggregation on in these liquidity pools, like the layer 1 liquidity pools, like Runes Dex is partnered with them. Then you have like Dot Swap. Then you have Odin and Odin.fun, which is a swap that they're going to allow the two-way bridge for Runes very soon. So they're going to be a part of that aggregation. I'm very sure of it. Then you have the next level, which they mentioned to us that they're going to be providing support for layer 2 aggregation as well. So if there's like a synthetic dog go to the moon, and you can log in through Sats Terminal through one of the wallets over there that does the chain abstraction or whatever, they're going to support that. So they don't want to stop because they want the user of the Bitcoin ecosystem to have the most pleasant and seamless experience. And I think that is huge because that can really change the game, especially with liquidity access.
Yeah, 100% agree. So do you think maybe so I guess your answer would be you think runes and the continuation of the building process.
Yeah. That is what I expect. And then like right now there's like this shift of like focus, like the 40% drop of Solana users. People don't want to play this gambling game as much anymore, be more into innovation, what has substance. If I'm going to get into a meme, I want to guarantee that like this meme isn't going to disappear tomorrow. It's got to have like a community that's solid, that like I can go to and ask questions, those kind of things, right? Or like what's the next like hot like tech narrative within crypto. You got stuff like Tau that does like an AI thing that like Virtuals just kind of went through at the beginning of this year, end of last year. But this is like very like technical and more like it seems like companies that have been working behind the scenes for like a year plus, right, within their ecosystem. So stuff like that I expect people to focus on. So the Bitcoin ecosystem will benefit from that.
Yeah, 100%. And I'm curious now because you got me thinking. Do you think Bitcoin could do something like subnets? So, I mean, potentially, right?
I think there's a subnet that will do something with Bitcoin's ecosystem.
Okay,
that's for a Tau subnet that will work with Bitcoin's ecosystem. 100%. I think that's probably already in there, because you have subnets within Tau that does optimized like yield aggregation and stuff like that with the EVM side. And so I expect them to do have something to do with the Bitcoin side as well.
Gotcha. Yeah, man, for sure. But let's kind of dig into this because this is something me and you spent some time with this morning. We want to we covered the Bitcoin ecosystem, but we want to start expanding to things around that are actually really exciting and really different. And that's when we came across Tau. That's when we came across subnets. So this is something that you can be super early on, actually extremely early on, because the trading has just really started.
Yeah, and it is a bit complicated, or it's not easy to grasp right when you jump in. So there's different accounts. I would say Mark Jeffries is most of you guys are probably familiar with him. He's been on our show a couple times, but really intelligent person in the space, been in crypto forever. He's diving deep into this, so that's an account that you can kind of look at and see and really learn from. But it's definitely different from like even like a tech stack approach is very different than anything else. Like if you are used to something like Virtuals, this is not going to be like a one-to-one type of crossover. But it's interesting to get into these kind of things early as they make their UI more easy for people to understand, because that means you were in when it was harder to really grasp, and then it gets easier. That's really when the masses come, right? So
Yeah, it reminds me of the early days of Ordinals and BRC20s. When you got over there and stuff, it's like it was nothing like you've ever seen before. It was nothing like you experienced before. Everything was different. Especially with BRC20s, it was like, okay, I bought this thing. I gotta buy it like an NFT, but I have the coins, and then I have to make a transfer description to sell it. Like it was a giant leap learning curve. But if you mastered that learning curve back in like June, July, when it came time to play in October, it was you were gung-ho. You were ready.
November,
you were ready to go. October, November, December. And then it was actually, you probably made the most money because you actually passed the learning curve first. You were actually educated yourself to be ready for something like that. And that's kind of what I see here. If you educate yourself now on how this stuff works, when the time comes, and I'm somebody, I've been saying this to Yagabi for a while, I think this is a 3-month cook. I think whatever you get in today, it'll be an absolute mistake to get out if you don't wait at least 90 days with this stuff. So this is long-term investing. But the cool thing is, this takes everything that I really like about every ecosystem, kind of puts it in one. It's AI, it's staking, it's it's investing, it's projects that are building. You're putting your focus on teams again. And let's just say, for instance, this one. Targon, right? You kind of go into Targon, and it kind of takes you to the screen. And this is taostats.io. It has a live chat, just like Virtuals does, or a live price action like Virtual does, and stuff like that. But let's just say you want to buy one of these tokens. You want to get a BitTensor type of wallet, right? It's good. It's really cool. You can set it the way you want. You got to get some TAL in there. Then once you have, I have 19.99 TAL in there. And then once you have the TAL, you come down here and you can buy these things, but you're not actually buying them. What you're doing is you're taking your TAL and you're converting it into DTAL, which is dynamic TAL. And what you're able to do with that dynamic TAL, you're able to change that to alpha tokens. And each one of these subnets have alpha tokens. So right now on this screen right here, I am buying the Targon alpha token. And what that is doing is that is me staking my dynamic TAL into the Targon subnet, which is actually earning me, because now if you kind of go up to here and you kind of go back, you go to the dashboard and you go to staking, I'm actually staking. So I'm actually earning. So I'm getting a piece of the pool here. And that's one thing people don't understand about this stuff. Even guys who've been in this ecosystem for a long time, they didn't realize that when you're staking, when you're buying these things, you're actually putting them in the pool. And as you can see here, let's go down to Targon. You can see I have 0.44 TAL in this. So I'm earning. I own the token, but I'm actually still earning. So you'll see my the amount of I have in here, which is I have 2.07 Targon tokens. And
alpha
I'll probably
tokens,
alpha Targon. This will keep going up because I'm kind of staked in this pool. So if you do look at something like Targon, for instance, you kind of go back and you'll notice that everything has a 21 million supply. So TAO itself has a 21 million supply. You obviously got that from Bitcoin. And what it's doing, every single subnet has the same amount of tokens, which is that 21 million. But you'll see it's like 0.3 of the supply is out. So you be like, why would you buy something, when the supply is not out? It's because you're actually earning while you wait. So if you look at here, the market cap of Targon is 8.5 million. This is not me telling you to buy Targon. I have invested
actually,
in like 30
don't
of these.
actually don't I would say don't buy any of the stuff unless you've done like extensive research on it. So
100%.
Anyways, continue.
So the market cap is 8.25. The volume is 2.51. The max supply is 21 million. And then you come down to here and you can actually get an idea of the emissions is 12.19. That's the best part, is you're getting a part of that emissions when you're staked there. So, but the miners also earn as well. So not only is it coming in for the stakers, it's coming in from mining TAO as well. And that is coming into the alpha. But we spent some time with this morning really understanding. Best thing to do, honestly, Go find all the white papers, everything at bittensor.io. Take all that information, put it in ChatGPT, and then ask the questions. Because now you just made your ChatGPT an expert on everything a BitTensor. It doesn't need to go look for any information. It has all the information it needs, and you can actually ask it questions, and you'll get really good answers. That's how kind of how we did today. But what do you think, man? After
Yeah.
the
So
intense
the
research we've done.
the two things that I was able to kind of pull out of my research were, two indicators or variables that you can look to see if it could be a decent, project is the emissions percent, like the
Yeah.
emissions rate. So if you go to the like subnets, can you go to okay, right there, and you just click on the emission. Okay, so the higher the emission, from what I understand, so make sure you're doing your research on this separately. But the higher the emission, the better, because that is showing interest and activity for that specific subnet, right? People are putting their tout into that, meaning that
Yeah.
they have confidence in it. So, and you got to sustain that, right? So the higher emissions, the better. And then also another thing that, a tip that I found was, if the creator of the subnet's address has like one of the highest like alpha token holdings, that's probably a good thing, because that means that like they believe in their project and all that stuff. So those are the two things that I found that I kind of utilized a bit. But yeah, the last thing I'll say is just do a lot of research here, because it's not your typical type of digital asset in and out type of situation.
Yeah. This is, like I said, this is a slow cook for me. To me, this is virtuals in October, right? If you got into any in virtuals in October and you just waited 2-3 months, you made out like a bandit. I mean, game went from I think 200K to 200 million, right? I mean, it was absolutely insane. And I think some of these will do the same. Which ones? That's up to you guys. I mean, that's going to be there's a lot of work involved in understanding what each subnet is doing. But like for instance, something like Bitmind. This is something that we both entered, and they are actually creating really cool AI product that actually, you can upload a picture to it, or even on your Twitter, and you can ask it, was this made by AI, and it will tell you. It'll give you a percentage that it thinks, right?
Yeah, it's a deep fake detector.
fake.
But and this is the last thing I'll say about the subnets and all this stuff, is that from my knowledge is that these are teams that have been working for the most part, have been working on BitTensor, like the platform, for like a year or more. And if you go to their, like, all of them, most of them have like X accounts and stuff like that. A lot of them look like startup, like software as a service companies or tech companies. So it's definitely different. It is definitely different. We'll see. Virtuals to me I felt like Virtuals became like a low quality like AI launchpad after a while. Like it was just constantly pumping out. This is more of like Silicon Valley style. I feel like, like teams that like have established, and they're already like have, like, for example, Cato. You guys know about Cato, like the social thing. Open Cato is right there. That's the subnet that has created the Cato social fi token thing, and this is the subnet behind it, right? So there's a lot of things that you guys can really learn by just diving in and researching and stuff like that. But like I said, Mark Jeffrey is definitely a good place to kind of be a starting point there, and then you can go deeper on his page.
Yeah, so this page right here is called subnetalpha.ai, and this has actually been really helping me kind of do my research, right? And it's just you kind of go each one. So each subnet, if you want to go back to the other page, every single product has a number, a subnet number next to it, and that number is actually more important than the name. Just if you guys can memorize, okay, that's 2, that's 3, because some of these names are Targon and stuff like that. So it's easier for me to just remember, okay, that's subnet 2 and stuff like that. But you can kind of go through subnet 1 to 68, I think there is, and you kind of you can view their profile. For instance, let's kind of go into something like Infinity Games. You kind of go in, and it'll give you more details all about it, right? The emissions, the recycled, and this is stuff that I'm not. I guess I'll have to do some research into, but it'll tell you what exactly does it do, and all that stuff. It's really, really good way to research it. Obviously, they got roadmaps and so much more. And I'm pretty sure, yeah, they can actually access their Twitter account right from here. You click on that, that'll take you to their X accounts with the tweet that'll actually give you from there. And what that does is allow you to do even further research and get get their official link, follow them, and so much more. So definitely check out everything there. Again, that was subnetalpha.ai.
Well, you can put that in the notes, right? So
I can't. Well, I guess
because you have to go back.
I can
or
put them
whatever.
later. Yeah,
Yeah.
I can put them later. So, but yeah, it's just subnetalpha.ai. I mean, it's super simple, but yeah.
Yep.
All right. Did you send the link to Jake?
Let me make sure. Got it.
All right, while you do that, though, I'll kind of cover a few more things.
Well,
So
I was
Kraken
gonna
Exchange.
say, I was gonna say one thing. I saw a post from Shin. You know Shin?
Larson?
No. Shin. He's in the. I think he's one of the founders of the Shrooms. He's
okay.
Shin. Anyways, he said that someone with 75 Bitcoin in their wallet is sweeping like Billy, dog, like all the runes right now. I don't know if that's true, but that could be interesting if that's actually happening. But I didn't want to cut you off. I just wanted to say that
That's
could
actually
be
really
something.
interesting.
Yeah,
it's not true though.
Okay. So it was a fake out.
Because if you take a look at what's going on, I'm on the let's go to the 10-minute thing. I mean, nothing is up, right?
Go to the 1 hour. Go to the 1 hour.
Even the 1 hour. I mean,
Yeah.
even on the 6 hour, it's not really. I mean, unless he's buying clever Bobo cat.
Oh, alpha. No, I'm just kidding.
But yeah. I mean, on the 6 hour, full moon. Yeah, that's not true at all. It doesn't seem that way anyway. From my, unless he's doing it on centralized exchanges, I don't know. But it's not really showing over here. I mean, 6%. You got 75 Bitcoin. You can rip Billy Cat.
Oh, well, he's not going to use all of it, but like even a couple.
Well, yeah.
Bitcoin. Yeah, you're right. Real quick, Claudia says, "Have you guys seen Bybit hack of ETH? Do you think this could be Black Swan?" No, so I don't think it's a Black Swan, but it's bad for probably today.
Yeah.
And
we covered that in the beginning of the show. If you want to just rewind this video a little bit, we covered that kind of in depth there with everything. But guys, it is officially 12:30. Well, almost 12:30, and on a Friday, and we got our good friend Jake Gallen joining us from Emblem Vault. Emblem Vault is doing absolutely amazing things. Not only are they doing stuff with Agent Hustle, which is going to be their AI agent that you're going to be able to trade, cross trade, do so much more with trading. And he's going to be your assistant. He's going to be, everyone in the future is going to have an assistant. And what they're building is they're building the wallet and the technology behind AI Agent Hustle, and he's going to be helping you guys out. But also, they're also building an amazing jump feature, which you guys can think about as kind of like bridging. But you're going to be able to take your asset, lock it into a vault using Emblem Vault's technology, and actually put that on any EVM chain and Solana and stuff like that in the future as well. But they're going to be launching really soon, and we're going to get some updates and everything from Jake today.
Yeah, super excited to have him up. Let's bring him up.
Jake, welcome back to Ordinal Revolution.
What's good, gents? How are you guys doing this Friday?
Doing well.
Well, until Bybit got hacked.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think
we can't have nice things. I swear.
We're also numb to this. It's like, the SEC drops their case against Coinbase, and then 2 hours later is a $1.5 billion hack, and it's just like, yeah, that's a wash for today. No big deal.
Yeah. I mean, you saw Bitcoin almost get over 100K, hit 99 something, and then the news came out. We're sitting there looking at our screens, and everything's just dropping. We're like, is it a macro? Like, what is going on? And then this news comes out. It's crazy though, because like I don't know why, but the S&P dropped with Bitcoin, with ETH, all at the same time. So it was really weird, a really weird half hour, and then the Bybit news came out.
We were talking about this on our show this week. What's the catalyst that brings crypto kind of to the next wave? Is it something macro related? Is it a new kind of industry that emerges? Because the sentiment, I think everyone's aware the sentiment is like very low. It's been compared to kind of FTX level sentiment. Obviously, if you're holding Bitcoin, you're doing fine. You're actually probably doing really well. But if you've bought pretty much anything else over the last 6 months and you're down horrendously, right? Ordinals is reset to 0 pretty much. Runes is reset. AI coins went to 0 very quickly. Meme coin trenches are done for a while. It's what's what is going to bring the sentiment back to kind of positive levels. Kind of funny, I pointed this out yesterday. I think a few people did. After a bunch of the Solana meme coin streamers have left over the last week because of the different accusations surrounding the Argentina coin and insider trading and stuff. Yesterday, all of the kind of high FDV, low float, recent TGs were all starting to catch bids. Bera, IP, Kaido, Sonic, like all of those were like the big winners yesterday. So I don't know if that's just like a small meta, but I think that's positive signs for what we've been talking about, where it's this return to utility, this return to fundamentals, or I guess maybe the VCs are back in control is also what it could mean.
Yeah. Healing is what it sounds like to me a little bit. I mean, like we had a stat today on the show that Shizzy brought up, 40% drop in Solana users since probably the streamers have kind of gone away, which honestly, even just that kind of energy I haven't really seen as much on Twitter, and it's made me subconsciously kind of have less stress, I feel like, right? And so this is a good place. Obviously, it's not great to see Bybit, with this news. I want to ask you real quick about the Bybit thing. I don't know if you dove into that, but like they said, basically all the signers for the multi-sig got like masked with this front end that basically tricked them, and had all the right information on there, and so they all signed it or whatever. So to me, I feel like that's such a just a weak security process. Obviously, I don't know what else they do, but if that was it, then they failed basically from an aesthetic front end masking exploit, which to me is like one of the weakest and easiest ways to try to get somebody, right? Am I wrong on this?
From what I read, it was a 4-4 multi-sig. So basically what these hackers do is they'll send an email with a PDF that opens and has malicious kind of virus that injects into your system, and then they kind of just sit around and wait for you to reveal the key. I think it's, from what I've seen, is like this kind of like virus, I guess is what you call it. They wait for you to sign that multi-sig, and once they're in your computer and you sign it, then eventually they somehow can somehow inject themselves into that and pull the code. And so then they just wait for all these individuals to sign the multi-sig at some point throughout however long that they're sitting on the computer, and everyone's unaware of it, and then they can kind of just go ahead and siphon it out. I saw a bunch of comparisons of people saying, well, Hyperliquid's a two multi-sig. These different exchanges have different kind of security levels. Like I know Coinbase, or at least you hope, right? Coinbase has a more sophisticated security. They said that this Bybit wallet was their hot wallet. I guess they called it a warm wallet. And it's kind of just this euphemism of that there's funds coming in and out of this very quickly. Gotcha. And from my understanding, again, I don't know kind of how centralized exchanges operate their security practices, but from what I know about Emblem and wallet technology is if you have a bunch of funds going in and out of stuff, there's only like a few different types of security measures you could take place, right? If you're moving stuff in and out very quickly. So if you have something like a TE and you have to move billions of dollars multiple times per day, it's just not practical to have that there. Like it makes it very inefficient. Here, though, I don't know the kind of measures there, but it is unfortunate that this thing happened. How they're going to liquidate it, and now that they have control of 500,000 ETH, is a little, scary. Like it's just ETH can never catch a break, it seems like, at this point in time. But ultimately, I think it's going to be pretty tough to liquidate 500,000 ETH. Eric Wall actually had a post I was reading earlier about how these hacks work, because they generally liquidate them over the these assets over the counter through Chinese OTC desks of some nature. And it takes a very long time to do. But, is this North Korea? Is this just, another type of degen who somehow, stumbled across this? But tough to know.
Yeah. So go ahead, Shizzy.
No, I was gonna say, so the big thing came out, Cigar from Abstract came out and he said that, basically, I'm sorry, not Cigar, it was Petty. Petty came out and he said that it's looking like the reserves was exactly the same number. So it's kind of
Wow.
he's thinking that it's the entire Bybit's entire ETH. It has been hacked. Like they have no more ETH there. But they haven't stopped withdrawals. So that's the only thing that's making me kind of think that maybe it's not. And people are just, one at a time. They're all going to, they've all experienced FTX. We've all lived through that already. So they know first thing you do when something like this happens is get your funds out of there.
Yep.
And they have not stopped withdrawals. Withdrawals are happening right, there. But their treasury was saying that all they had was that $500 million, or that was that $5 billion, right?
I mean, it's no
No,
small
one-
chunk change, right? 1.5 billion. It's a lot. I mean,
Yeah.
even Binance recently sold down a lot of their reserves. If you remember the FUD kind of like a week or two ago, where they were rotating, and I think Binance's reserve ratio was like 110% or something like that. So
Yeah.
it seems like a lot of these exchanges were just barely over the 1-to-1 backing.
Weren't they? Didn't they do that and then just recently rebuy their reserves? Like Binance could like just bought a bunch of assets again. So a lot of people are insinuating that they were just really trying to dump the market.
No, they sold down everything but the reserve, but the users holdings. So they went pretty much
I mean,
to
they
zero.
can't sell
Besides
the
what their
users'
users were
holdings
holding.
down.
Well, I'm just saying, like they sold everything that they owned that wasn't.
Yeah, but
contributing
then
to the
they ended up
user.
buying it back though, like 2 days ago or something.
Did they?
Because some not all of it, I'm sure, but like start, But why would you do that? Why would you sell down those and then buy those same percentage of those same assets 2 days later?
It's tough to know with a lot of these entities because you think like Binance has like venture arms, right? They have different types of allocations. There's different reasonings. They have to distribute funds to investors. There's so many different reasons of why an exchange would want to sell something off. And it's something that I've learned is just being a builder in the space now for 2.5 years is a lot of the things that you see on the timeline are usually wrong. It's just there's so many variables that what exists on Twitter or on social media, they're just completely unaware, unoblivious. There's a lot of things related to personal issues or business decisions that are generally obfuscated through a lot of these like rumors. And then that's why most of these people just don't even comment on it. So I try to not think that a lot of these entities are acting malicious. I mean, there are definitely some, but the majority of the time it's just some sort of business decision that we're unaware of.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right. Well, Emblem has a lot going on right now. You guys have right now you already started the integration of the jump feature, and that's going to be wrapping up here probably in the next I would imagine like month or so. And then you have the Founder Vault keys, which I think a lot of people are excited about for that September TGE, but we always remind our audience that you can actually trade that now in kind of like this buy atmosphere in the form of an NFT, and then you can open that NFT during TGE and get your runes out. And then you have the AI factor. So AI seems to be like really front focused a bit in the industry, and you guys are you have your own separate team almost to kind of focus on that. What do you guys feel like is the priority right now? I know you're working on everything at once, but like, what is the one that's right in front of all your faces all the time?
You're probably not going to like this answer, but both of them, to be completely honest, they're both coming online almost exactly at the same time. At the end of the day, Emblem is a vaulting business, and our goal is to have more vaults created. Whether this is like Emblem Vault, Emblem 2.0, or people using Emblem AI wallets, they're both running off the same technology. And the vaulting layer is the most foundational layer where the intelligence layer exists on top of. And we'll kind of get into this conversation because we've been figuring out, where to kind of optimize. And so with the Emblem 2.0 stuff, we're on the last, I think, PR with our audit with Chainlight. They came back with like 10 or 9 different kind of minor issues. There's no major issues with this new build. And it looks like we should be able to have that live probably after ETH Denver. We're going to have the whole team together in Denver next week. This will be the first time that everyone is in the same. We rented 2 different houses, so we'll be able to put that together. The same with the bulk minting tool as well. So it looks like it's probably the first chain we'll deploy to is Base, most likely. It's interesting as we've kind of sought out this like Emblem 2.0 journey, the attention on these different L2s have changed drastically. Like our first L2 we were going to deploy to was Arbitrum. Then Arbitrum kind of fell off. Then it was like Abstract. But then there's this technical issue with Abstract that the devs are attempting to solve. And then, right, we still have Merlin that we're going to deploy to as well. But Bitcoin L2s have kind of cooled off. And it's just like Base just seems to be the one that a lot of people are interested in. Maybe just because there's confidence that it's going to be around in time. But our goal is to be on 10 to 15 different EVMs before we do deploy to Solana. And we'll be deploying Rare Pepe, Fake Rares, and Spells of Genesis to all of them, as well as probably the 5 or 6 main Ordinal collections, and also 5 or 6 main Ethereum collections will be to all of them, like CryptoPunks and Pudgies, also like Node Monkeys and Puppets and Frogs and etc. So those would be kind of the base ones. And then we will work with the different applications within the L2s, or just the request of the users or creators who want to take their collection to whatever chain, because each of these L2s have different cultures and they have different requirements and people want different things. The community that exists on Merlin wants something that's different than the community that exists on Base, which exists on Abstract, and so on and so forth. So we're having good conversations. There's a handful of different collections that want to be priorities. We know that there's these main collections as well, and we're just going to continue to push forward. But one of the big things as well is creating a more simplified experience. So the bulk minting tool gets the vaulting experience down to about 3 or 4 clicks, where you can vault up to 25 different transactions or 25 different vaults at one time. And then we're going to continue to optimize that as well, because Bunsy's been doing a good job kind of figuring out the system. And on the AI side, kind of to help kind of picture what's going on here, moving aside of hustle and just kind of looking at the larger vision of what AI is doing, I call it this intelligence layer, because at the end of the day, what AI is going to do is it's going to improve the interoperability experience. I don't know if you've seen, but there's like a project called Wayfinder, who's kind of like, which is by Prime. And they've been showing kind of some of their examples recently from their testing of what can be done. And there's like one recently that I posted about yesterday, which has a user it asks the AI to take this one token or take all of the dust that's in this one wallet, swap it for ETH, then bridge it over to this one place to then go buy this other token. And it does it all for you, right? But if you were a user, this would take you probably an hour to do, right? To wait, but you can just have the AI agent do it. So we have this firm belief that interoperability plus AI this is going to be probably the leading combination next cycle, whenever that market is a little bit more mature, right? This could be 6 months, this could be 2 years or so. Probably somewhere in between there. But what we've realized recently is that you look at all these, or at least this is some of the internal conversations, you look at all of the AI, kind of DeFi AI applications that are being built, right? Whether this is Agent Hustle or Hayanon or Wayfinder or Griffin, all of these are also focused on fungible tokens, right? And you look at, what are these AI agents using? Is they're using bridges, right? To move all of these things back and forth. What bridges are they using, right? They're kind of using a variety of 15 to 20 different bridges that exist. But for NFTs, there's literally one NFT bridge. That's Emblem Vault. So all AI agents are going to use Emblem to move NFTs cross-chain. There's literally no other option, like right now, unless a competitor could emerge, which I hope they do. I don't think it's good for the ecosystem if Emblem is the only NFT bridge that has some sort of success. There needs to be multiple to increase competition and to prevent saturation. and also to reduce the attack vectors from malicious people in the industry. But as of now, Emblem's the only one that can do this, and we're the only team that's proven that even has any type of interest. So if you see all of these agents and products, right? Hayanon is going to have to use Emblem 2.0 to move NFTs across chain. Griffin is going to have to use Emblem Vault to move NFTs across chain. Wayfinder is going to have to use Emblem 2.0 to move NFTs across chain, right? And so Emblem has this kind of full stack situation where we're the only NFT bridge in the industry for AI agents to kind of move stuff cross chain. So that increases vault demand. But also we're building our own kind of competitor in this DeFi AI sector with Agent Hustle. So we can also kind of showcase what can be done. And so one final thing on this kind of this component is I just said that example about fungible tokens being bridged where you can have everyone do this. Well, what if we have Agent Hustle or one of these say, take my, or you say, hey Hustle, can you find where the best or where the highest listing is for my Bitcoin puppet across all of these chains? Or you could say, whenever there is a 2 ETH bid on a puppet on any chain, take my puppet from Bitcoin, vault it, accept the bid, and then you're done. Or you can have it set where we were going through some of these examples yesterday. We say, hey, list all 5 of my node monkeys across these chains, but then whenever one of them sells, then delist all of the other ones, right? So you could do all these kind of like automated, sophisticated NFT trading strategies with Emblem 2.0 and with AI. And so for us, it's a clear advantage. It's something that we see is that's pretty much an inevitability because they're doing with fungible tokens. And obviously with Leonidas and Dog community kind of really, I wouldn't say forcing the narrative, but they've been forced to pursue the narrative of going cross-chain. This inevitably comes down to NFTs. And right now, Emblem's really the only one built for this type of feature for NFTs specifically.
Could you set triggers for Hustle?
Yeah, it won't be in the initial model, but we are doing something. It's called conditional based prompting. Yeah, which is something like that where it's, hey, list all my puppets for 1 ETH each, and then whenever one sells, delist all of them. Right? Like you can do things like that, and Shannon's working on it through state machines, which is this kind of like traditional gaming logic that Shannon, used to use for MMO RPGs in the mid 2000s to basically farm in-game tokens on things like World of Warcraft and stuff. He's taking that kind of logic and applying it to Agent Hustle, which is actually the same thing that Wayfinder is doing as well. So we just think about how to do this with NFTs, and I do think that could really help the NFT industry if you're able to kind of automate these just as you could with fungible tokens.
Yeah, exactly. I'm thinking of if I could set like something up with Hustle that like where Hustle's scanning the markets like every 5 minutes or something, and if he sees like a puppet at, I don't know, this price, to pick it up or whatever. Also, like the automated trading would be so much more like easy and convenient because I'm like, okay, Hustle, pick up Bitcoin if it drops 5%, sell it when it jumps up 15% or something, right? Just as an example. And all you gotta do is set that prompt and you just check, oh, he hasn't, those conditions haven't been met yet. And then once they do, you're like, okay, I just won, basically, So obviously that's going to get saturated to where everybody does it. But if you're early, you get a head start. That could make a big difference.
Yeah, I suspect most, maybe 2-3 years from now, I do think like the next cycle is going to be kind of this intelligence cycle. This cycle was the attention cycle. The cycle before that was kind of the utility. So by next cycle, a lot of these sophisticated trading strategies will be kind of just very simplified for users to participate it, with just a few clicks of the button or a few kind of prompts. But I'm going to use one example with Rare Pepe as well, because this is something that people do already. So for us, it's like really about focusing on our power users, and Rare Pepe, we're actually doing the math right now. I think Emblem cumulatively has close to like actual 70 million or so in TVL. So a little bit lower than where we were, but 70 million in TVL for NFTs at literally the peak of a bear market for NFTs, pretty good. So what we were talking with one of our power users the other day, and so we actually just passed 4 different people have minted over 1,000 vaults, right? So these are the people that we generally want to be talking to, because these are the people who are using Emblem to basically make a living. So what one of these guys do, what few of these guys do, is they'll come to the Rare Pepe collection, right? There's 1,774 different cards of all different types of varieties. And they'll just click on recent bids, and then they'll look to see all these resting bids are, and then they'll go one by one and vault all of these and accept the bid, right? So they get to keep these assets natively on Bitcoin, and then or natively in their own self-custodial wallet. And then when they see a bid, they go ahead and vault it and accept the bid, right? And so if we're able to automate this to where the user doesn't even have to even monitor to this to make a profit, and he just says, hey, anytime there's a bid at this price on this Rare Pepe card, just go ahead and vault it and accept the bid immediately. You can create a more efficient market for NFTs that is a little bit more automated, but it's also allowing our power users this ability to profit and make a living without even having to beat the computer, right? And so if you get this, think about that, and you get this then for Bitcoin Ordinals, for even CryptoPunks and things like that, you allow people to be a little bit more creative in their trading strategies for NFTs, which I think is very powerful. And the goal for us is obviously you want to have your power users make the most amount of money. And so for a few of these users, they say their profit margin is somewhere between 10 to 50% on all these trades.
Wow.
But if we can get that up higher, to where the average is 50% because they're able to use AI to automate these strategies, then I think that's a win for everybody. And that just continues to reinforce this idea of taking NFTs cross-chain. And eventually when the new kind of wave of people come in next cycle, chain abstraction is just going to be normalized to them. Like it's not going to matter to them. And so, if you have AI using Emblem 2.0 for this chain abstracted NFTs, and you see this system where a lot of the NFTs are generally just running on Emblem rails in the background.
Yeah, that's incredible. That's really cool.
What does that world look like though? Like, chain abstraction is the new norm. Is it just like, because I feel like I was in that age of like, a little too young to get too nerdy into like the internet, boom, right, in the early 2000s. But like, so I don't know what the conversations necessarily were in the early 2000s, late 90s about like internet technology. But I know what our conversations are, and it's always about like this chain offers this tech stack, and this chain offers this, and you can do these things and all these things. But like, I agree. I think if mass adoption happens, we get away from that for the average person, and it's going to be chain abstraction. Do those conversations just kind of become like nerdy, and like we become like the nerds of the world at that point, do you think?
Yeah. I mean, who's a good example to listen to is actually Mark Andreessen, because he created Netscape. And so you think about the way that he communicates with crypto and AI and emerging technologies. And so he has like he does talk about it in this nerdy way, where he talks about, you'll see he introduces a lot of like older kind of terminology to the way he thinks about things, and that'll eventually be us. Unfortunately, I think what gets lost as that happens is these like cypherpunk ideals, right, of decentralization, and it becomes more dependent on the companies to act honestly and forwardly to introduce these different layers of decentralization as the products are upgraded per se, right? That's something that we wanted to do with Emblem, going from 1.0 to 2.0 introduces this idea of non-custodial vault. Going from 2.0 to 3.0 will kind of really just open source the vault creation process. The jumping process can also be more sufficiently decentralized as it's built out. So there's all these different areas to where you could decentralize it. You obviously have to do it strategically. But for the end user, it doesn't really matter. And I think we talked about this last time, but Bob using Odin Fun, and it was kind of like a aha moment for me because it showed that users don't really care what's happening on the back end. Like for a while internally, we'd like, you'd think, okay, if a user deposits Bitcoin, then they want that same Bitcoin back. But when you're depositing Bitcoin to Odin Fund, it's swapping for your CKBTC on the back, and they're using that in the process, but they're still marketing it as Bitcoin, right? And also Hyperliquid is doing this now as well with their units thing, where you deposit Bitcoin, and then it gives you this kind of what they call units. It's almost like the fungible token version of Emblem. So you deposit Bitcoin, they give you this token that represents, a unit, whatever the measurement is. Then you go trade with that, and then you get the BTC back. But they also just market it as native Bitcoin, even though it's not. So this seems to be where kind of the world is heading in chain abstraction. And from what I've seen between these two examples, it doesn't seem like the majority of people care.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. At that point, it's just going to be like, just get it done, and especially if you're using AI to do that. I have a question because like I have this old wallet that I used to use last cycle, and I was checking the D Bank, and it's like there's like $900 in there, but it's everywhere, right? Like it's $50 on Avalanche, there's like $250 on Phantom, there's money everywhere. Matic, I got like $75, but altogether it's like $900, right? So in the process of using something like Hustle to go get me all those funds. Right, there's some that's in LP pools. It's just everywhere. And at the time it was dust, but a lot of these protocols are coming back now, so it's like it's more than dust. But what would be the prompts that I would use to Agent Hustle to do something like this? Is it just like, hey, go get everything from this wallet and convert it to Bitcoin and then buy me a frog, or would I have to sit there and prompt each one?
So this is, I think this is part of the unknown. This is also something that a lot of AI companies are not saying out loud. But if you have assets already in non-custodial wallets, right now, there's no way for the AI to interface with it. So like, for example, when we built AgentHustle.ai and Emblem AI wallets, you're using a non-custodial wallet. So to use Agent Hustle, you have to deposit Solana into a wallet in the platform. That wallet's obviously non-custodial, whereas things like Griffin and Hanon, they're using centralized wallets.
Okay.
So that's then how you participate. We have been talking, and Shannon has been looking into building Hustle as basically a WebSocket to where you can attach it to these wallets. Right, with MetaMask specifically, they have something that's called Snaps, where you can build your own kind of your own attachment to it. So with Hustle, we could you can have it attached to the MetaMask and then have him go ahead and do all of this for you. But right now, I haven't seen any technology that allows it. So there's a little bit of kind of a marketing LARP that's going on, unless somebody's building something cool in the background, but I just really haven't seen it. But I do think that eventually that will become kind of the norm. And then you do have to actually train people to, okay, use Hustle, go to Snaps, download this. Now you have this kind of command center, right, where you can then go ahead and do those kind of things.
I gotcha. That makes sense. So so using Hustle, I'd have to be using the Hustle wallet, because Hustle is going to have its own smart wallet ahead, right? It's going to be EVM and eventually it's going to be Bitcoin as well. So as long as I, originally, use that wallet or send it to that wallet, then he'll be able to do all that stuff inside,
Yep.
right?
Yeah. So right now, how all of these platforms work, again, I'm just grouping them all together. All these DeFi AI is that essentially you and the AI have shared control over this one wallet. That one wallet is hosted on whatever that platform is. On the back end, right, we're using Lit for these wallets. So they're non-custodial wallet, which means that Emblem has no access to these keys. Where all these other platforms, at least from what I've seen, they're using centralized wallets, which means that the team has access to these in a different type of way. Not like they're going to wreck you, but that's kind of what, custodial wallets are. There's trade-offs for both of these, usually with self-custodial or with like what we're using. You sacrifice some speed and efficiency for this decentralization, where all the self-custodial or custodial wallets have a little bit more speed, but you sacrifice decentralization. But on our platform, what's cool with Emblem is that you're actually depositing to a vault, and this one vault has Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, etc. Whereas all these other, all the custodial wallets are just Solana or just Ethereum. So you don't have this kind of like multi-chain variance to it, which is what gives us a little bit of an edge. But of course, it'll take a little bit longer to develop.
Gotcha. That makes sense. So I guess my question would be then, let's just say like I'm using your wallet, I'm the different chains. Can I just tell it in like, in one prompt to do a whole bunch of things at one time, or will I have to sit there and prompt you, hey, do this on this chain, do this on this chain, do this on this chain?
So when we initially launch, it's just going to be on Solana to start.
Oh, okay. I gotcha.
Just to start, yeah. And again, Shannon's working on optimizing the agent himself. Like the agent itself, Shannon, quote unquote, says we're only at like 10% of the capabilities. And conditional prompting won't be there once we initially launch. Like the goal for us right now is to just get the product out, this new version. And then obviously, right, there's kind of a business aspect to this, where it's, if you release all the features at one time, then, then you basically eliminate all of the kind of marketing in terms of the impact of value accrual to the token. So you kind of have to do these in different types of stages to keep the community interested, right? And it sucks for the users, also for the teams. You'd like to just release everything at once, but that's just kind of how the market is. The market wants hype. They want things that they want to, kind of rally around. But I think in a kind of down market where we are today, to have those kind of like segmented rollouts to all these different features will continually garner new community, because it gives you a lot more things to talk about. Because when the market's down, people need something to kind of spend their time doing, right? I've been watching your guys' show, tinkering with things that aren't even just Bitcoin, tinkering with things on like BitTensor. It's because we're bored, right? You're trying to look for what the next thing is. And the best thing to do that during a bear market is to have a cool product. People say, oh, what is this? And then once another update happens and you're like, oh, now I'm back here. And then all of a sudden you're using the product and talking about it a lot more. So that's kind of like the way we're thinking about it.
Well, even as a user, I actually wouldn't utilize the multi prompts feature because I'd be nervous, honestly, just because like I would want to prompt one single transaction first, make sure everything feels good, then like slowly build my way up regardless. So I think you guys kind of rolling that out in different phases is gonna be beneficial anyways. So
learning curve.
Yeah, we're really focusing on the onboarding experience here. So I put out a tweet yesterday kind of showing how we're building it, and it looks a lot different from the ways that these other platforms are. And it's as I've been kind of toying around with them, it seems like it kind of loses this visual component. I think Griffin is actually really good, and is going about it in a different way, but we've built these kind of like mini apps to where the user can do these different things like swapping an LP manually, or you can kind of interface with Hustle to do it, to have him execute the transaction, or you can even just interface with Hustle to give you, the context and details of whatever the conversation is. With some of these other ones, and again, this is like no offense to them, it's just what I've seen missing is when you just have a blank kind of LLM screen just sitting there with nothing to look at, you kind of like don't know what to do with it. It just seems like very blank. So with the mini apps, it's if you see there's a swap mini app and an LP mini app and a bridging mini app or a pump fund mini app, then that shows to you, oh, I can do these type of things with him, right? And so it gives this familiar experience. So we're kind of building it in that way to blend it together. Eventually, then you'll abstract all of that away, but you need to get users familiarized with what they can do and what kind of things are possible. And we're going to have kind of this onboarding checklist for people to do, like a few tasks that are just as simple as clicking a few buttons, that will really kind of show users literally what is possible. And then once you go through those tasks, it's literally just clicking a few buttons. Then you'll kind of have the full scope of what's going on. So it's just taking a lot of the experience that we've had over the years, and understanding that with new technologies, users literally need to be led to what to do, because just giving them this kind of boundless prompt usually causes this like idea of like analysis paralysis. And it was even for me with some of these, I'm just like, what do I do with this? What's the point? So having that kind of onboarding experience, I think, is really, really important for this emerging sector.
Yeah, that's kind of how it seems like on the A9. It's like you get to the screen and like I didn't know what to do with it, right? I didn't know what it could do. I can do anything. So it's actually a really good idea to have those mini apps. But I guess my next question is, you guys are going to be in ETH Denver next week. It looks like you're going to have a lot of your team there. What are you most looking forward to? You like right now, you're in Vegas. You got guys in New York and all over the world. What are you most looking forward to the next week? And seeing the team all in one place.
Working together first. So we each rented houses. We have 8 people going, seven or 8 people going. One of the houses rented is like a big 5-bedroom house to just finally put all of this stuff to bed and finalize it for the next chapter. Like we've already agreed to, finalize the 2.0 launch, which the audit should be done by then, and get everything kind of placed in. Same with Agent Hustle. It seems like that's going to also be kind of finalized and pushed and ready for production, both of those. And then really planning the future outside of kind of the team aspect. I've been getting invited to a ton of AI stuff, a ton of AI events. There's also some Bitcoin events too that I'm kind of interested in. Last year, I helped host Bitcoin Denver with the Jen and Bunzi, right, as the OmniSat team. So we were really kind of in the center of that whole entire Bitcoin movement. This is as Ordinals and Node Monkeys ran to like 0.9 Bitcoin each.
I remember
It was
that.
kind of crazy. Yeah, it was a very, very energetic kind of experience. I think I slept like 5 hours for the entire week, just as everyone else did. And Jen did a really good job, and Bunzi for leading the charge on that. I'd like to see that replicated, which would be awesome. So I think trying to find where that energy is will be important. Seems like probably AI seems to be where most people are interested in, but also the Bitcoin community is always a blast to talk to. And ETH Denver's, it's a developer focused conference. So you go in, you kind of hang out, but the networking opportunities are always the best. And it's kind of good that ETH Denver is free because they do understand this as well as some other conferences are really kind of force ran on buying these tickets. And when you make people buy tickets, then most people just don't want to go.
Yeah. Unless it's like that. I don't know. Bitcoin conference seems to be able to get away with it, I guess, because it's the Bitcoin conference, right? But I think that's gonna be super exciting. I was wanting to go this year. Unfortunately, the calendar didn't match up. But I want to go back to something real quick because I had this question about hustle. Because I do feel like, there's going to be a time where like institutional capital really comes and like kind of flexes its muscle around in our space. I don't know when that's going to be, but I think stuff like proprietary software as a service is going to be very important during that period. Are you guys going to make Hustle proprietary? Because I have my business hat on all the time because my family's like business growing up. And I just think it makes sense once crypto goes mainstream that proprietary, SaaS is going to be a thing. What are you guys thinking with that?
It's a good question. Right now, Agent Hustle is just under the Emblem brand. So we have a company called Cross Chain Ventures that owns all of the assets, and Agent Hustle is inclusive of that. There is this opportunity to spin it off to become its own thing, which we've considered. It does seem like, and we've talked about this before, with Emblem Vault, we've talked to a bunch of venture capital. I spent all of the last year talking up and down to venture capital people, investment DAOs, individual investors, etc. And it was really hard to raise. We ultimately went through this Founder Vault token sale, right? Because of what I learned with like the venture capital world is if you have a working product, then they're really not interested in it because you kind of take the mask, or you kind of take the mask off and you see what the product is, and you're not able to kind of window dress these ideas to try to speculate and pump it to billions of dollars because there's no product or so. So with Agent Hustle, we have had a lot more interest from these type of VCs asking about it, asking where to buy. We just told them to buy the Tensor token if they're really interested. And if there's an opportunity to spin it off, we would be open to that idea, not against it. But for us, it gives us this other avenue to interacting with the industry. That obviously both are complementary of one another, you know, Emblem Vault and Hustle, and they use the same type of technology. But it gives us like 2 or 3 different types of business revenue opportunities, which we want to explore
Yeah.
as well. So, I mean, if somebody's really interested in investing in it, I always say to hit me up. We're always open to opportunities. We've never taken a single venture capital dollar. There's 5 people on the cap table, and it's all 5 people have worked for Emblem Vault as an employee at some point in time. So the fact that the company's made it now almost 9 years, you know, with no VC funding is actually kind of insane. I really haven't seen any other team that's kind of made it this far. So kind of one of the last holdouts before venture capital basically cannibalizes the entire industry.
Yeah. We don't even have, like in our industry, we don't have that traditional funding that, you know, like Silicon Valley would get. Like it wasn't as hard to get funding over like quality funding. And I'm not saying VC funding isn't quality, but it's like what you said. You have to like, you know, have the ability to dress something up and pump it up, you know, but like traditional tech funding from like Silicon Valley and stuff like that with like the Facebooks and all those early days in the early 2000s, that wasn't like that. You know what I mean? They had a product, they had huge money come in, and I think we eventually get there. But we probably have, you know, some time away, and I actually can't wait till when we do, because I think that's going to really solidify a lot of the space. We'll see.
Yeah, I think the token warrant thing is really what gets in the way, at least from my own experience talking with various levels of VCs, whether they're general funds, hedge funds, ecosystem funds, you know, et cetera, down the board. There's this thing that's called a token warrant that most venture capital firms want, where it's like you sign away your equity, but also on top of it, they want to be supplemented in this token. So you're kind of giving away 2 things at once. And, you know, for some VCs, they just want equity. Some VCs, they want both, and some they want tokens. And I think over the last year, it really shifted from just equity to tokens, because you're seeing a lot more of these liquid funds pop up. And it causes some conflictions in terms of the long-term vision, because if you have these VCs who just want the token, they're not as much really invested in you as they are the price of where that token will be. I do have to give props to Bitcoin Frontier Fund. They're really one of the few kind of honest funds that I've come across that is more interested in the equity side of things. Also, they do tokens, but they're also long-term holders, and they're actually one of the very few VCs that I've talked with who actually encourages lockups on these tokens, whereas all these other ones do not want lockups, or they want the shortest ones possible. So those are the type of ones I'd say that you want to look for. Obviously, though, everyone's business is in a different situation. Sometimes you need the capital as soon as possible, and some of these funds will take advantage of that to get these, you know, 6-month windows or kind of whatever it is. And if you're a founder or a business owner in the crypto space and you need capital immediately, you know, you'll do whatever you have to do to make sure that stays alive. And it's not easy, right? That's why more companies fail in crypto than they do at a higher percentage than they do in the Silicon Valley world. I do agree with you that in that we will probably get to this more traditional kind of VC funding route once this market structure bill is approved. I think we did talk about this last time on the show as well, that this last year or so, year and a half, everyone's kind of been focused on meme coins, right? Because there's no utility. But once you do get this, you know, regulatory environment approval, you're going to see a lot of the traditional finance people coming in, or whether they're retail stock traders or institutional kind of buyers, come in and probably start buying, you know, ICOs and different things of that nature that are very familiar to them. And that capital that exists there, that sideline capital, is probably 100x in what exists in meme coins right now. And so you'll see these very large allocations being contributed to ICOs, because instead of just buying venture capital, buying equity, they're probably going to be buying whatever this kind of regulatory version of a token is, because it aligns the business much closer with the investors than this current kind of token warrant model, which I think is just like completely ass backwards, at least from my experience.
Yeah, and the downside of that is like we get the gatekeeping all over again, right? Now it's like these big pocketed VCs within that are in, great relationships with these Silicon Valley, or just like, now crypto tech builders. They're going to be set up. I mean, that actually happens right now. Even though our space is not advanced to where you and I are talking fully, or even like I would say 50-60%, I know of a couple like really branded like Web2 companies right now that have already done like node sales and stuff like that, but it's gate kept, right? And so that's the sucky thing. And what was one of the good things about crypto is like the everyday person can kind of get past the gatekeeping. I think if you're in the space, you probably have a bit of an edge because you know people who know people maybe. But like for the people like in our audience, that like or other people in regular that are trying to come to crypto, we're kind of going backwards to like the gatekeeping part. What do you think about that?
Potentially. It depends on how this market structure bill works. And if you will still allow anybody to participate in these ICOs, then I do think that it still gives the crypto natives an advantage. Also, the one kind of game theory component here is that these ICO markets are still going to be internationally based. I don't, unless they try to geofence it in a way, but it doesn't look like this administration is going to try to do that. Right? They want the capital markets to be right to have guidance in the United States, but you want to open it up to outside capital, because if it's a US based company who's offering this ICO that attracts capital from outside of the US, then that's obviously that money's then going to be funneled into the United States, tax system or whatever the kind of regulatory compliance is. And so it's just a massive opportunity. I think it would be, the administration would shoot themselves in the foot if they tried to do this kind of accredited investor situation. Although with Echo, which is what Kobe's platform is, although he's from the UK, you do have to be an accredited investor to participate in that. So there is already some precedent in heading this like kind of gate kept way.
Well, so I've listened to the All-In podcast with David Sachs, and one thing they've talked about in the past was potentially a test. So kind of get rid of the accredited investor rule, but you have to like basically KYC, and you have to take a test, basically acknowledging that you know the risks of investing in these assets and stuff like that. How would you feel about that? About all US citizens to invest in crypto, you would need technically a license.
I think it lowers the barrier, right? Reduces the friction for allowing anyone to come. Obviously, most people hate KYC, myself included. I think people should have the right to, privacy. But in some situations, KYC is necessary. And, if it's simply a test like a real estate license test, or, to get
very similar.
your license to be a fitness coach or whatever it is, like, I think that is definitely a major step forward for where we want to be. And some of this stuff, maybe the test is either a generalized test, or it depends on the type of crypto asset, because I do think this is something that they've acknowledged as well, as they want to try to categorize these tokens in different ways, which I do think is the right way, whether it's utility token or meme coin or infrastructure, however they want to classify it. Maybe some of these get that test, and some of these like meme coins are kind of just out in the wild.
Yeah.
But I don't really have an issue with it. I do think Jason, who hops on this a lot, I do also believe that he doesn't have a clear vision or view, a perspective of what the crypto industry actually is. And he does try to apply some old world logic to this kind of like test idea that he proposes all the time.
Yeah, it sounded like me that they were considering like a risk assessment test, like understanding the risk. And like I'm guessing you can't really do this for like normal using DEX and stuff like that, but ICOs and stuff like that, you could do something like that. Like if you wanted to participate in an ICO or something like that, having that license might be something that you would need.
Yeah, again with the KYC, like it all hinges on this regulatory bill. But once you start tokenizing equity, eventually, right? This is what BlackRock wants to do with their Texas Stock Exchange. Then it's probably better to have KYC, because then you can distribute the equity properly through the right regulatory means, which then offers users protection. The worst thing you would want is a US investor to come in and not KYC, and then have this company say that this is equity based, right? And then later they change their mind and say, nope, this is just a utility token, right? For rewards or something like that. This is an equity. There's no ownership, etc. So there are some situations where it is probably better to have KYC, but I don't think it should apply to probably all of them.
Yeah, 100%. Well, yeah, man, this has been absolutely awesome. Another very successful Emblem Hour. We really appreciate you. We'd love to give you a few more minutes to kind of talk to our audience.
Yeah, I appreciate it. It's always a great time to have these types of conversations. The industry right now is still hurting pretty bad. Kind of interesting. I encourage people to just participate in some of these new different types of sectors, so you don't bore yourself to death or chop yourself to death based off of different types of trading strategies. And it's tough to just get bored and start leverage trading or buying tops and selling bottoms and stuff like that, and just death by 1,000 cuts. Find what interests you. Like I've been, this is just like a Kaido show, I guess, but it's something that really resonates with me because I'm somebody who is not a meme coin trader. Every time I enter the meme coin trenches, I just get absolutely obliterated. And for something like InfoFi, where I tend to already put original ideas out, and now I get rewarded for putting these original ideas out. And then it also incentivizes me to keep doing this, which also gives us this kind of positive flywheel effect, because founder-led marketing is one of the best strategies for a crypto company. It just means whoever is like the CEO or the founder is kind of the main marketing channel for this and for like the ideas. And then the business account is generally for like announcements and kind of major things. So for me, I found like Kaido is like a personal positive flywheel effect, which I'll continue to participate in. And it's also preventing me from getting bored and chopping myself to death. And there's a few of these different sectors out there, right? Like AI, DeSci, you have this now InfoFi thing. There's probably a few more of these that are going to pop up. That's probably where the next 100, 1000x is, based off of, whatever the output is that you put into it. So, this chop could exist for another 3 to 6 months. Like who really knows? My actual 2025 prediction was that we were going to range between 120K and 70K until Q4. I still think I put that out in December. I put that out December 31st. So I still think this is probably, it's going to be probably close to that. This is also why we had the founder vaults unlock in Q3, is because we also kind of expected that this was something like this was going to happen. Which is also in line with when this market structure bill is supposed to be introduced around Q3. So I'd say, prepare for a bunch of months of slow, but but the crypto industry now is large enough to where, 6 months of chop doesn't mean the whole industry is chopping. It means there's these little micro kind of bull markets within the sector, which I think you guys are doing a good job showing your audience with like the BitTensor kind of subnets, where that's kind of going through its own like mini bull market. I saw things like Sonic is starting to have and
ripping,
and NFTs on Abstract look like kind of might be.
They're actually doing well over there, the NFTs.
Yeah, and I think you guys are doing
the meme coins.
And you guys are doing a good job showing your audience that overall things are down, but there's going to be these little areas to where could hit. And then obviously if you have one that's like Ordinals, to where, hey, this isn't just like a mini trend, this is like a mega trend, right? Then you'd be like somebody who minted puppets for $10 and sold it for 50,000 or 40,000 or whatever it is, right? You can be those people. So just continue to stay curious in these types and don't chop yourself to death. And also if you liked and enjoyed the conversation, believe in Emblem, then purchase some founder vaults. Once we have both of these systems, the AI and 2.0 live, here in March, we're also going to launch our point system as well for people to participate in being a user and earning. But if you're just somebody who is a whale and you want to allocate a large allocation to the token, you could just go ahead and market buy it directly until those will be there forever. Even if when these unlock, if there's none that are sold, this will be an actually interesting game theory. And then I'll end it here. Is we have 1,000 of these vaults. They're listed. The remainder of the second round is listed at 0.5 ETH. I think there's like 50 of them left. So we've sold like 350 of them out of 1,000 so far. Even if the market or even if these don't sell, when these unlock, people are going to be trading keys on, on natively on Magic Eden or on Solana, wherever they're bridged and stuff. But if that native trading market cap outpaces these founder vaults, there's going to be an arbitrage opportunity for somebody to buy these founder vaults at a $6 million market cap or $4 million market cap, and then just literally unvault them and sell it on the market, right? So there's all these kind of different strategies that will be introduced, and it's a little complicated, but just thinking about that now, if you're a long-term believer, then it's probably a good opportunity to purchase them. And we're always available, and I always appreciate you guys for having me on.
Yeah, for sure, man. It's been a pleasure. And I think the Bitcoin ecosystem is going to be looking very different in September. So you'll probably have places like Arch Network that you can trade these runes, and Emblem's going to be branding themselves everywhere, with their AI agent. All these other platforms going to have to use the smart wallet, and then with the jump tool. So I'm super bullish on that. And thank you again, Jake, for spending time with us and the community like you do every Friday for the Emblem Hour. And we will talk to you soon, sir.
Yeah, enjoy your weekend, guys.
You too.
See Jake.
Bye.
Yeah, man. Absolutely another great episode, man. Thank you guys for joining us all week. We know it's a really slow week, and you guys are still tuning in every single day, man. Appreciate it. We got 268 people in here. It's not including Rumble and Twitch and everything else. So really appreciate everyone from all of our channels. I mean, we're on YouTube, Twitch, X, Abstract, and Rumble today, and we'll be on Spotify later. But thank you guys for always tuning in.
Yeah. Yep. And like Jake said, pay attention to some new stuff. That's why we are bringing the stuff in, like BitTensor and Abstract and Barachain and stuff. Look, we know that like not all of it's going to hit. In fact, Barachain didn't have a great launch and stuff like that. But it's just us trying to see what's going on. There's new stuff, and with the whole Solana meme coin. Well, I don't even want to call them meme coins, but just really celebrity scam coins doing what they did for the last month and a half. It really just sucked the energy out. Now we're over that, so we can talk about some of this newer stuff, and I'm excited about it. But if you guys could help us out and just check out our partners, that would be, we would greatly appreciate that. We'll start off with Emblem Vault. We just went over what they offer you guys, the AI wallet, the jump feature that's going to be coming with Ordinals, and their founder vault keys on OpenSea that you can buy the pre-sale of those, basically of the runes. You can learn more at emblem.vision. And then BetBTC is the predictions marketplace for the Bitcoin ecosystem. All you need is an Xverse wallet, some Bitcoin, and 6 blocks, and you can start placing bets on their markets right away. They're about to add the create your own markets feature, which you can earn up to 1.5% of the total volume of the bets placed on your markets. We will update you guys as soon as they add that, because we're going to be utilizing it. You can learn more at betbtc.win. And then BitPerp is the perps and leverage DEX of the Bitcoin ecosystem. They're about to launch on a Bitcoin layer 2, but first they're going to start off with their testnet season 2, really, because they already did the first one, which was very fun. Go check it out, guys. Bitperp.io. You can learn how to use their platform. It's a lot quicker than the season 1, as well as they're going to have once they go live on mainnet, they're going to allow you to trade Bitcoin layer 1 fungibles like Dog Go to the Moon and other hot fungibles outside the Bitcoin ecosystem. You can learn more at bitperp.io. And Fluid Tokens. Fluid Tokens, today is Fluid Friday. They had an amazing conference at Consensus in Hong Kong. They were the first to introduce staking vaults to retail users on Bitcoin Layer 1. The Dog Go to the Moon Season 2 staking vault is going to end in about 5 days. So if you're interested, you have some dog, go check them out at fluidtokens.com. They got a lot of big plans coming for the second half of this year as well, with the Cardano and Bitcoin wallet, the interoperable wallet, as well as the bridge that's going to be bridging those two chains together. You can learn more at fluidtokens.com. And Merlin Chain, the #1 scaling solution for Bitcoin native L1 assets and protocols. If you are a builder on Bitcoin Layer 1 and you want your protocol to be a bit more flexible, reach out to their team and apply for a Merlin Chain Builders Grant. It is not hard to apply, and some of our partners actually got into that program. So all you got to do is apply. And if you are a user and you want to swap for Dog Go to the Moon, they have a pool on merlinswap.org, and you can swap your Merl or your wrapped Bitcoin for that. Learn more at merlinchain.io. And don't forget about our integrated partners, Foxy, building the metaverse on Bitcoin called the Bitverse, and their first-person shooter game called Clan Wars, which we live stream every Tuesday at 3 p.m. Eastern. The goal is to beat Aaron. If you get more kills than Aaron, then you can win up to $300 worth of, I guess, assets. I'm not sure what they're going to be offering, but they said $300 is that value. 150, I think, from the team, and Shizzy's putting up 150. I guess. I don't know. That was last week.
Well,
maybe he changed his mind.
Yeah. I guess I'll do it this week since you keep saying it, but no, I'm just kidding.
But anyways, and then also make sure you check out Ordinal Hive, the aggregator Ordinal marketplace for Bitcoin L1 and L2, the cheapest Ordinals around on Ordinal Hive. Thank you guys for checking out our partners.
Yep. Great job, man, as always. And if you guys wouldn't mind checking out ordinalrevolution.com, some of the best articles dating all the way back to last year. If you know someone just entering the space, please send them our website. We really feel it can help get started and caught up to where we are today. If you guys need a VPN, we have NordVPN. It's the #1 VPN in my opinion. I use it every single day. You guys should too. Or, if you don't want to use Nord, you get a different VPN. But I think every single person should have a VPN. You don't want to go to these sites with your IP hanging out. I don't want to see that. You don't want to have that. That can actually get these sites to your address, and yeah, you don't want that. We're in Bitcoin for a reason. Don't just give away your home address or your IP address for that matter. Get a VPN. If you guys are going to Bitcoin 2025 Vegas, it is going to be absolutely insanity, guys. It's going to be crazy. Think Nashville on steroids. That's how I'm kind of looking forward to it. But don't wait till you get your tickets. We were actually looking at the ticket prices yesterday. I mean, they're already pretty expensive. If you would have got them like a couple months ago, you were getting them for, a lot cheaper than they are today. The festival pass is $431. The industry pass is $1,439. Guys, these are going up. It feels like every Friday. Well, if you want to keep this price, do it. But actually, and if you pay with Bitcoin, it's actually even more. It's even more discount. So get your tickets for it. The industry pass is probably the way to go because you get it in day one. The festival pass is for day 2 and day 3 only. The industry day was actually probably the best day, right? I mean, I really enjoyed the first day the most. So if you guys are gonna get tickets, probably get the industry ones if you can afford it. But they're not gonna get any cheaper. Definitely not gonna get any cheaper. And if you guys need merch for that event or any event, or really just to hang around and home with, or just to lounge around or just show your Bitcoin pride, we have some of the best merch in all of crypto, not just Ordinals, guys. Check out everything here at ordinalrevolution.com. This is our Shopify, all done through a third party. But guys, we are live Monday to Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central, 8 a.m. Pacific, and 4 p.m. UTC. We'll see you next week.
Peace.
We OG, oh no, G. You're not bullish enough, yeah. Oh no, you're not bullish enough. You ain't got the oh no. I get stoned by the bolo. Bitcoin set to Olo, yeah. Experts on reload, yeah. You're not bullish enough, yeah. Oh no, you're not bullish enough. You ain't got the oh no. I get stoned by the bolo. Bitcoin set to Olo. Experts on reload. Mempool getting hot. Everybody wanna rock, ayy. Runes is coming, everybody on a knot, ayy. It's a nuisance, Ordinal revolution, ayy. Ordinal revolution. Yo, is my guy for real, bro? Got friends right now. Yo, BRC 420, bro. Yo, that shit on fire, bro. Imagine if he in here. Yeah, lock it in the seal. Murder. I got balls of steel. Nookies on the field. Yeah, this shit for real. With no calls, I get so far. Got 100 phone calls that I go hard, and they gon' love me. Smoke weed, huddle back. I get shiesty. Where my Bitcoin looking lovely. All this Satoshi's nothing above me.